Not one for cute animal videos, but that one.
So we got hey Beer, what's our count over there? We got 11 minutes
For what?
for the file copied up to the editing machine.
I don't understand. What happens after 11 minutes?
Then the raid isn't as busy and I start writing again.
Oh, gotcha.
So tell me about your idea.
Okay, so here's what I did. So last week I said I needed some help with this trackpad, and it was super important.
I remember.
And so I get a telegram from one of my friends, and he says, "You idiot! You know I do a lot of kernel development stuff. Why didn't you ask me?" And he's like, "This is easy. I could bang this out in a couple minutes for you." And I'm like, "Oh, sorry," and he's like, "Yeah, I'll apply that patch for you, no problem." I'm like, "Okay." So I get him remoted into my machine, and he goes to apply the patch, and the patch doesn't work. So then he goes through a lot of the troubleshooting, kind of rehashes kind of what me and a couple other people had done to try to troubleshoot to begin with. And he ends up spending all of Sunday, the rest of Sunday doing this, and bleeds over into Monday, wakes up Monday morning, gets back at it, and is going through all of these troubleshooting things. Finally, halfway through Monday, he says, "Okay, I found the problem. Here's the issue. The only thing is, like, that has this particular mouse problem will no longer have this touchpad problem again." And it happened on the Linux Action.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very relevant to the show. We wouldn't want to record that.
Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say. But anyway, so I asked him if he was interested in an interview, and he just said yes. So that could be a thing.
Yeah,
we can talk to him about how he did it. And
cool.
Super bright. And now, and here's the other direct. I probably have questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm super excited. I think this has, the thing is, like, and you kind of touched on this on the in the KDE interview too. This push towards hardware vendors is really where if people are going to switch to Linux, that's where it's going to happen. Because I swear to you, there are half the people that walk into Best Buy and walk out with laptops would be perfectly happy with Linux if they could pick the Linux computer up off the Best Buy table, take it to the checkout, pay for it, and walk out the door, finance or whatever it is they do.
Mm-hmm.
The number one reason people don't use Linux is not because it wouldn't work for them, not because they just don't care. They don't care what they're using. And that's why you have so many people on Chromebooks and MacBooks and whatever else books.
It's true.
So, I think this is like.
But do we have? Do we? I mean, I'm just. Do we have? So we have something to talk about. We have something to.
I don't know because I haven't seen your review. But
okay.
Here's what you could do. You could end after the review, or whatever. You could we could go back to it, and then if you didn't like the way the segment played after the review, just end it at the review.
Yeah.
There's a thought for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, does anybody in the chat room know if it's possible to make Dolphin use to mount shares instead of?
I think
what?
Every time I look down at the chat room, somebody is like super upset with it. Like, I think this is particular one as a joke, but like earlier on, like I was like, somebody was like, "Oh, you're just an idiot. You can't disable touch click in your computer." I'm like, you don't think I've tried? You don't think I've gone to the control panel and tried to disable it really? And then like shortly after that,
yeah, I was a little feisty. Yeah, they're a little feisty today. They're a little feisty.
Now they're like, "Oh, good. He finally lifted a finger to help the Linux cause."
People are a little fired up today. A little fired up. All right. I'm going to go refill my water so that way I have to pee in the middle of the show, okay?
That's good. That's good. That's good planning. That's good planning.
Yeah,
I never planned
anything. I'm connecting to a Samba server.
So my mother, I was talking to my mother, and she's like, "Yeah, so what are you doing for your daughter's birthday?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're gonna go out." She's like, I need to get less hair on my head. And I was like, "Well, we're gonna go out. We're gonna do this thing on Monday. Go out." She's like, "Oh, when are you gonna throw that together? Like, what time?" I'm like, "Not exactly sure." And she's like, "Well, where are you gonna do it?" I'm like, not exactly sure." "When are you gonna plan it?" "It's tomorrow." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm kind of a last minute kind of guy, so I got over 24 hours. I don't know what everyone's freaking out about. We'll get to it eventually." Do. Mini steak. Mini steak? What? YouTube is live.
Huh?
Four? Hi. Hello. Hi.
Hi. 4 minutes.
4 minutes. T-minus 4 minutes. Holy crap. So I don't know if you noticed. Of course you noticed. Why am I not going to say that? So anyway, so what the hell? TV in the family. Signal to the box. Says upgrading the current so you couldn't send the signal. Good. That's information I really needed right now. That's good.
Proud to say I've successfully worked a drone shot into last. Boom.
Nice.
Fire torpedoes.
So here's the problem. Last week at the end of the show, right when we were trying to close out the episode, I got a telegram and inadvertently looked down, and then Chris made fun of me. So this week, I have shut notifications off. I'm not ignoring you.
Who is giving you a hard time for not responding during the show?
Rikai.
Oh.
Nobody that would know what's going on.
That's funny. All right. I feel good. You feel good? You feel good?
I'm ready.
Are you
Ready to
fired up?
roll.
I don't know if you're fired up.
I'm ready to roll.
All right, well we got like 2 more minutes, I think, and then we'll do 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 do. I have a burp. I don't understand how you functioned in your daily life with Google Glass when you have ADD like you do. You know?
Here's the thing. A lot of times, first of all, I tend to take it off if I'm doing something where I need to concentrate for a prolonged period of time, like Glass. The problem with Telegram is like it's on so many different machines that if I forget to close one out or mute one or whatever,
I know.
Super terrible.
But I wonder, like, do you suppose you either A, context switch back to what you were doing after the interruption fairly well, so it's not as costly for you, or B, you context so abruptly and so completely that you don't even realize how many times you're dropping the other thread? Which do you suppose it is?
I know exactly what it is. I've done detailed research on myself, and here's what I've determined. When I get interrupted from a given task, roughly it takes me 10 to 15 minutes to get back to the point of where I was.
Yeah.
Like I've looked at the clock before and I was like, what exactly what I should do? And then like I have, I kind of got to get back into the flow and whatever. And when I actually start working and then I
You're
look
in
back at
flow
how
again?
much time is left,
Yeah.
it's about 10 to 15 minutes is
Yeah.
what it takes me. That's the cost of stopping what I'm doing and looking over at something else and then going back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can only, really a few of those a day, and it's
It adds up quick, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing though. I'm actually usually pretty good of it. Like once I decide I'm in the middle of something, if I just take my phone, just set it down and walk away from it and go do something, that's fine. The problem is when it's on the screen that I'm doing something else on and it pops up, then I can't help it. Then I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, oops.
yeah. Fire torpedoes. Pew 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 pew. Tempted to go over to U-Haul and try renting a dolly and see what it's like to tow Hadia's new car with a dolly before I buy one.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing you could do is you could look on Craigslist and see if somebody has
man.
like a super cheap one.
That's what I want to do. I want to buy one, a used one, but I just kind of want to get a feel for it. Because where we're thinking about going later on, you know what I mean? It would be really nice to just bring a vehicle with us.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling you'd have access to a vehicular thing.
Plus, that area is probably even just their Uber's even going to be pretty thick down there.
Yeah, I told my dad about Uber. I was trying to convince him to use it for a while, and he did it for the first time in Phoenix. Blew his mind. Like, just blew his mind. And then like he was getting hung up on tiny little details, and I'm like, it's an app. Don't worry. Like he's like, well, how do they process the payment to it if they don't take Samsung Pay? And I'm like, no, it's
Samsung Pay. I love your
that's
dad,
what
dude.
because he's like, here's what he knows. You got to step through it with him, right? Here's what he knows. He knows that he's requesting the Uber inside of this app, and he knows that the app is on the phone, and he knows that the driver can't do any sort of payment things.
Yeah.
So in his mind, somehow they have to coordinate the payment when he gets into the car, and the only thing that ties the two together is his phone, and he knows that the way he pays with his phone is Samsung Pay. So in his mind, what happens?
I just can't believe your dad's using Samsung Pay. I feel
But anyway,
That's
once
funny.
we got past that hurdle, then he was
Yeah,
like, then
right?
he's like, oh, it even shows the map. I can see the driver. Oh, look, he is coming. Oh, there he is. Oh, he has car.
Yeah,
I
it's
see car.
great.
That's
It
car.
is.
Oh,
It is
look.
really nice.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to watch.
Mhm.
It's like in his mind, it's magic.
And if you set your profile picture to an attractive blonde woman, they show up even faster. All right. Are we ready? I think we're ready.
Talking about
Baby, what's the matter? You need a hug?
That's okay. That's right. Just people talking about things they sent me, in I don't know where, somewhere. I missed a message on the internet somewhere.
All right. You know what I want to do is I want to light something on fire. Just feel like that'd be fun. I feel like that'd be a great way to start the show. Is just light something on fire. But it would make it'd be like a big stink, Just make a big stink.
Could depends on what you light on fire.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like
If the right thing would actually, if you light the right thing on fire in front of you, you might actually get very happy. Might make you very happy to light something on fire in front of you.
oh,
not
boop,
think-
boop, boop, boop. Hey, have you installed KDE Neon yet?
You know what's funny? It's funny you say that because I was looking and I found the flash drive sitting right there, and I was like, my laptop's right there, and we have 11 minutes or whatever.
Yeah,
I was like,
man.
maybe I was thinking about it.
Seriously.
But here's what'll happen. When I do things impulsively like that, I always forget about that one thing that I downloaded that I told
Yeah,
myself I was
yeah.
going to move off to the thing.
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
things I forget about.
it's not a risky move for you because it's PPAs up the wazoo still work and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah, no. But what about the file that I downloaded in whatchamajigget and forgot to move that off the laptop before I formatted it?
I don't know. What about it?
Exactly.
Right.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Right. All right, here we go. It's Linux Action Show episode 400 and it's 57. Yes. And
Oh, jeez, God.
I'm gonna go grab the fucking laptop. I'll be right back. I probably should have remembered that.
What would you need that for in an episode where we're talking about the laptop? West Jeff, it is 3 shows today. 3 shows. Despite the calendar showing 2. Because somebody, Chris, didn't update the calendar correctly.
Okay.
I can hear you coming.
Hmm.
Like I can hear your gate open, and it sounds really cool. It sounds like this. It sounds like
Yeah. Yeah, because we're moving around and talking out there.
that's great.
Dia's out there cooking. It's good. It's really good. Okay. Now we're gonna start.
Okay, now it's time. Hey, Chris,
Yes, sir.
do you have the laptop that you're reviewing?
Check.
All right, now we can start.
And guess what it's running?
Ubuntu?
KDE Neon.
Nice. Hold on, I gotta get the show note.
This is the user edition. I got the user edition, so I got 5.9.
Hold on. How do I? Oh my gosh, this is the thing I hate about headphones, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, now we're good.
All right, here we go. It is Linux Action Show episode 457 in a 3. In a 2. Welcome to Linux Action Show episode 457. My name is Chris.
My name is Noah.
Hello, Noah. Coming up on this week's episode of the show, we're going to review this here XPS 13, the KB Lake i7 processor, a big old SSD, and this nice Infinity Edge 4K screen. I've been running Ubuntu Unity on this thing. I've been running the Plasma desktop on this thing, and I'm going to give you my full take on this as a Linux laptop for getting your work done. I'm coming at this, too, with an interesting perspective because in the family, we have the first generation Sputnik, and I personally own the 4th generation, and this is the 6th generation. So I'm going to give you a review looking at previous models, where this one's improved upon, and how it stacks up. So a lot of stuff to jump into just with the laptop alone. So we're going to do that in just a moment. And then after that, we'll get into some of the week's news. There was some stuff that we punted from last week to this week's episode that we definitely want to cover now. We got some great feedback, and we've got the picks at the end of the show. So Noah, are you in the zone? Are you ready?
I am. I'm really excited about it. I hope this is the second week that we have done this little switch up and we're moving things around a little bit. And so we've already gotten some feedback in and we're hoping to get a lot more. So
Yep.
if you like the way that we're doing this new show, if this is easier to follow, if you get to the points quicker and you like it, make sure to start a thread at Reddit or use the contact form and let us know because we are continuing to try this. We'll try it for one more week and we'll see how it goes. And then we'll make our final decision of how the road goes from there.
Absolutely. I've been looking forward to this review because we just recently did the budget conscious reviews, a laptop and a desktop.
Yeah.
And so now this isn't like a super crazy expensive computer, but it's a brand new machine that you can spec out quite to the high end, and we'll get to that. So it's interesting to go from that episode now to this episode, so we're kind of covering the full spectrum. So before we jump into the complete review, I want to thank Linux Academy for making this segment possible. Go to linuxacademy.com/unplugged to support this show and sign up for a free 7-day trial. This is a platform with tons of content around Linux and the services and systems around that. And they're always launching new stuff to make your membership even more valuable. They just recently announced a big partnership with Chef. Look at this, Noah. I got two different, I even printed it because these things, they're just really nice newsletters. They sent two different things in 1 week came into my inbox. This first one was deploying microservices with Puppet and containers. I thought, okay, that's interesting. And the second one, though, Google Cloud Platform for the AWS user. And then this comes in, and it's a partnership announcement between Linux Academy and Chef, which is so awesome. Chef is going to provide high-quality, in-depth training to those interested in becoming a certified Chef developer. So you can go to linuxacademy.com/chef training to learn more about that. Or follow their Twitter. I have their Twitter feed up right here talking about the Google Cloud Platform stuff. They're just rolling out stuff all the time. They're taking their success and they're reinvesting into their business and making more content. They have human instructors when you need help. It's a great place to learn more Linux. And we get emails all the time from people saying they're signed up for Linux Academy and they're learning more. It's really cool to hear that too. linuxacademy.com/unplugged. Go there to support the show and sign up. You can get a free 7-day trial. linuxacademy.com/unplugged. All right, so now we'll take you into the journey of my XPS 13 review, which I filmed just last night.
Hi guys, it's me Dylan here, and today I'm back and I'm with my dad.
Who? We're talking about the latest and greatest Dell XPS 13 and the original Dell XPS 13.
Yep, I have stickers on it.
So the old Sputnik is back for a new round. This one with Kaby Lake has an i7 processor, 512 gigabyte SSD, 4K screen, and it's thin and light. So this is their 6th attempt at this, and it's a little bit different than things in the past. It's got USB-C ports as well as regular USB 3 ports and an SD card reader. But that's probably not what you care about. Out of the box, you get Ubuntu. This one comes with 16.04, and it's pretty polished. From the first-time user guide to the actually pretty nice video that, if this was the first Linux computer I ever bought, would kind of get me amped up about using a Linux computer. So hats off to Dell for a really good video. We're gonna do a head-to-head comparison to see how far Dell's come over like the last 4 years or so.
Yeah.
They've had 6 versions of these things, and this is the first one. Dylan's had it for 2 years.
Yeah.
And so he is our resident expert on the original Sputnik. Dylan, do you love your laptop? Do you hate your laptop?
I love it.
Yeah? What do you think, what are your first impressions of this guy? What seems different about it?
That it's touch screen.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of that screen?
It's very nice, and it's very flat.
Yeah, it's a lot thinner.
Yeah, it's a lot thinner, and the keyboard looks better. The design.
Let's talk about battery life. It's hard to get good numbers with real usage battery life on a brand new laptop because it's brand new battery. But for the most part, you're gonna get your standard 6 to 7 hours, I would suspect. So far, I'm in the honeymoon stage with this, and I'm getting like 8 hours. Right now, let's see. My battery is at 69%. And it still says, so far this estimate's been pretty accurate, it says I have 6 hours and 39 minutes left on this battery. The reason why that impresses me is I haven't had this on the charger since yesterday, and we were playing Minecraft on this thing a little bit ago for 15-20 minutes. Dylan just did the TNT test. We've tried it on his old laptop. It's pretty laggy. His laptop is struggling these days with the latest version of Minecraft. How'd this laptop do, Dylan?
Excellent.
Really? And you used as much TNT? What's good about that is this is a way higher resolution screen too, so that's really good. There's no way for me to really know until I've gotten a bunch of different use cases over an extended period of time. I plan to keep using it for a while after this review and sort of update some of my notes about the battery life, so stay tuned for more information on that down the road. There are some small niddlies. Windows logo on the keyboard, not my favorite. And under heavy load, there is an occasional noise that it makes. It's not a high-pitched whiny noise, it's like a scratching noise.
Yeah.
Here, there's that noise again. I think it's the computer. It's a real slight noise. There's a real slight noise. It sounds a little bit like I wonder if I can hold up the mic. Maybe you can hear it.
But it's not very annoying because it's super quiet, so I barely even bother to hear it
Do you think it would bother you if you were playing Minecraft?
if no one was talking.
Yeah, or if you didn't have the volume on.
Well, your voice is super loud, so when you talk, it sounds like 100 birds saying caca, like that loud.
That's what it sounds like when I talk.
No.
We've got to talk about the hallmark feature of this laptop. This screen, this bezel-less infinity high-resolution display. It is gorgeous, and desktop Linux is getting to a point where just about any major well, okay, I won't say that. A lot of the major desktops really support high DPI with either no configuration or minimal configuration. The Arch Wiki has a great tutorial for Plasma desktop users. There's really only just a couple of things you have to change. It's got it all summarized there. Unity users, it's a simple scaling setting, and Dell ships it turned on out of the box. But I would argue that the screen really matters on this laptop, and there's no way for you to fully take it into consideration if you haven't seen it yet when you're thinking about buying this laptop. The edge-to-edge display is very impressive. The touchscreen is handier than you might expect if you're not a current touchscreen user. It becomes a third input device. You have the keyboard, the mouse, and now you also have the touchscreen. It doesn't replace any of those things, it supplements those things. It's actually extremely nice when you have this laptop on your lap, sitting on the couch, next to a loved one or a friend, because they can reach over and interact with the screen in a way that's extremely organic, and basically everybody's picked up from using phones and tablets now anyways. I emphasize that point because it's so small and portable, you'll find yourself taking it with you all the time. And it makes a great laptop on the couch because it's just right there, it's tiny, and for a lot of us, you can fold it up and you can slip it between the couch and it'll just stick in the couch cushions, and you can pull it out and flip it up, turns right on, and the battery life is fantastic, so it's kind of the ideal couch machine. Do I love the trackpad? It's definitely usable, and my son Dylan, who has the original XPS 13, and myself, who has a Model 2 generations ago, we both noticed improvements. So if you've had trackpad issues in the past, there's a notable improvement with this. I still have issues from time to time with misinterpreted clicks when I have tap to click on, which works better if you turn off, admittedly. I do like that it's physical buttons, so there's a real sensation of clicking. In comparison to the total size of the laptop, the size of the trackpad's pretty generous too. I really only have two cons for this laptop. The first one, it's really outside its control, and you are buying into the future a little bit when you get a high resolution, high DPI screen. The ding I have here is that there is some Linux software that's a little fiddly under high DPI. Less and less of an issue, but it's still an issue, and it's something you should know about. It won't be a 100% perfect UI experience across all your applications. All my main applications and my desktop environment look great, so that means the applications I spend 95% of my time in look fantastic. And even if you just use the terminal even looks better. My second ding would be the little bit of scratching noise that it makes under load. It's not offensive, and I don't think it would impact my purchasing of the machine, because any machine at this size that you put under a lot of load for an extended period of time, you're gonna have some sort of fan noise or something because it's such a small package. The positives, though, seem very clear. It is extremely thin. It is lightweight. The battery life is incredible. It has USB-C, USB 3, an SD card reader. It has a great peripheral ecosystem from Dell. The chargers are small, portable, and they're easy to get extras. The screen looks like an infinity pool at a fancy hotel, and the keyboard is refined and feels good. It lights up nice. It's got a back white lighting, which looks really classy, and they feel good under the finger. There's not like
weird give on the edges like there are on some small thin laptops. It's all sturdy all around. You combine that as a whole package and the fact that it's out of the box hassle-free hardware-wise, I think the two cons I've found with it are easily outweighed by the positives. Now it's up to you to decide if the price is right and if you want a 13-inch version, or maybe keep waiting and hope that Dell releases an official Sputnik 15-inch version.
I kind of thought of you, Noah. I thought this might be the perfect Noah computer, possibly. It's a really good size. You get really good performance with the newer i7 processor.
Yeah, it seems very, very close to the perfect computer. The only thing that it's lacking, and I may eventually just end up having to give in on this, is that I really prefer a dock connector, and that's something that the Ultrabooks just are not incorporating anymore. They're all just kind of going to
I wonder, you ought to try the USB-C lifestyle for a little while and see how that works for you. You know, because this has got a USB-C port on there, which also it also will power from. It'll charge the laptop from the USB-C port too.
So I've got a couple follow-up questions for you. The first is, did you try any 4K video on the laptop itself? I know that was a pain point in the older XPS.
I didn't do any large file playback, but I did do some YouTube video, which worked fine.
Okay. And my second question is, do you think, so we talked last week about, or well, 2 weeks ago rather, we talked 2 weeks ago about low-cost Linux and how we can get a usable machine, and we were actually, I think both of us were kind of surprised at how much distance you can get out of spending a couple $100s. So I guess my question to you is, given the price difference of this higher-end Linux machine, do you think that there is an increase value added at that price point, or is it a hockey stick? Is it you go and then you go up in price drastically, and then at the very end you get just a little bit of increase in performance for a lot more money?
Base model is 950 US greenbacks. Mid-tier model is 1350, and this guy right here is about I think it's closer to 1800 fully spec'd out because it's got the 512 gig SSD in it with the 4K screen. You can get it with a 1080.
$1,500 more than what I had spent on that HP.
Yeah. But this also it's a different class of machine. So I think you're not considering this unless you have the money to spend. So I think that's the first qualifier. The second thing though is like the thing that this does offer over the 10-year-old computer is it's super thin, it's super light. It goes right now while I've been reviewing it, it's going in my laptop bag with my regular laptop, and it's like it's not even noticeable. It's just so nice to slip it in the bag. And the fact that I'm still running on battery the entire weekend, and I've still got 1, 2, 3 out of 5 lights on the side of the little readout thing here. So the battery life is something also that the older computers that are much cheaper can't.
Just didn't have.
Yeah, and then of course the 4K screen, which the Plasma desktop looks really good at high DPI. So does GNOME. So
if I'm understanding what you're saying that if you have the money to spend, there's a lot of really kind of cool tweaks and upper level polish that you can get, but really there isn't, when you actually get into the meat of it, there isn't a big difference between a $400 Core i7.
No, I disagree with that. I don't know if the price to performance ratio is there. I think if you're getting a new computer, I think I think in terms of value, this is a good one, just simply because now having owned 2 of the Sputnik models, they are, out of all, you know how I go through machines, right? You know how I churn through machines, and these XPSs are still in the fight. They're still really good machines. So there are some machines I buy. Yeah, there's some machines I buy where I look back at it after a couple of years and I go, that was a really good purchase. And I think these XPSs have qualified every time. And so this is just everything I've liked about them even better. Really, I don't know it depends on what's it worth to you to have the great display, a nice keyboard, probably one of the better trackpads under Linux I've experienced. I don't know if it's the best, but it's definitely one of the better. And USB-C and some of the other higher end features of the Iris graphics in this one. What's that worth to you? And you have to make that judgment call. I think for me, if I was shopping a new laptop and I wanted an ultra portable that was high performance, this is a really hard one to beat because it's just so well built, and it's just a workhorse. There was some machine noise I got, but so far it hasn't been really bad.
I think that's fan noise. Is there a fan in that thing at the bottom?
Yeah,
Is it clipping
yeah.
on a wire or something? Okay.
No,
And then
a lot of people, but it's across the line. I think a lot of other people. I announced that I was going to be reviewing this in my vlog, and I got a lot of people writing and asking, "Do you have any noise with yours?" I know
So
it's an issue.
the elephant in the room, I think probably the question that a lot of people are going to have is, we're seeing the exodus of Macs. People are jumping off right and left. We saw that happen
Yeah.
in System 76.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dell is now seeing that. I've
Yeah.
heard that from my Dell partner or my partner rep. So my question to you is, having used MacBooks and having used this computer, do you think they're ready for it? If
This
you
holds
were-
up. This really holds up.
It does.
Like one of the things, so it's hard to really show on camera. You might be able to see it in some of the close-ups of the review, but it's got this interesting texture on here it feels much higher end than just like your standard plastic. It's so while the inside
Rubbery
is
almost?
it's not metal, so it's not like it's an all metal machine. But in some senses, that texture is actually more comfortable to rest my hands than all metal.
Particularly if you have a wristwatch. I
Yeah.
noticed, when I've used the XPSs, if I have a metal wristwatch on and I sit down, if I'm on aluminum, it scrapes. It's like
Yes,
nails on
definitely. This is not nearly as sharp of an edge, so it doesn't cut into your wrists. So there's some aesthetic improvements over the MacBook, I think, with this XPS 13. Also, I don't really think Apple offers anything as competitive as this, especially at the price point. So I think it's a more competitive item for what you get at the price point. And if you're a system administrator or a web developer, or if you're a Linux enthusiast and you want something ultra portable to do your work on, this is a great work machine. And you think about it in the context of a work computer, I think the question of comparing it to an older machine kind of goes out the window. And this is a slam dunk. I mean, I think the reality of the Sputnik is that this is their 6th attempt, and they've incorporated a lot of feedback, and I think it's a sleeper hit. I think this is one of these laptops that's better than people realize, and once people start figuring it out, it's gonna sell like crazy.
Excellent.
And it is in its own right now one of the competitive laptops to compete against. So a lot of times, people are modeling other manufacturers trying to get close. I think this is a trendsetter. I really like it. I have gotten feedback that people don't like the noise. I haven't experienced it super bad, and I'm very critical about that. That's really my major ding about it. And it's
Where is the webcam? Is it on the top or on the bottom?
they've moved it a little bit. It's on the bottom still. Let me open it up so I can position. It's still kind of weird. It's over here in the corner above the escape key.
Okay.
Yeah,
In the corner, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know though. I don't really use that very much. So
Okay.
because the issue is right, it's like edge to edge display. So there's nowhere in the top to put it.
Well, the thing that is beneficial about having it at the bottom is oftentimes when you're web conferencing, you're looking below the center of the the center of the screen to try to look at the person. And so if the webcam is down there, it looks more like you're looking right at their face.
I would just be worried to be shooting up your nose.
When I was borrowing your XPS, that was one thing that stood out to me. Is every time I web conference, I was like, man, that's a really good place for the.
Oh, you liked it?
I did. I thought it was a huge improvement. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this is a step up over that machine too. I mean, it's a noticeable step up. I really think they're going to have something. People are going to start finding out about this, and I think they really got a hit. I'd be really curious to see if they did a 15-inch version, because that might be the real sweet spot for me. I love that machine, and if I was wealthy enough just to have a couch computer, hands down, no question asked, that's the computer I would have all the time at my house. I feel like my kids are comfortable using it. I feel like the lady's comfortable using it. It's really nice. But for me personally, I like dedicated graphics and a 15-inch workspace. And I know
That
people.
was going to be my question: is do you think in the 15-inch they should do dedicated graphics?
They do. They do have dedicated
do? Okay.
graphics. Yeah, they have an XPS 15, which is a nice rig. A friend of the show, Wimpy, runs Linux on the XPS 15.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I would just love to see an official Sputnik edition one
Sure.
day.
Yeah,
I'm
I
really
gotcha.
curious to see what other hardware they're going to work on this year. I said in our predictions episode, I thought 2017 would be the year I start taking Dell serious for Linux hardware, and this really
Plays right into it.
it really does. I was really impressed by. There was essentially nothing about it that disappointed me, and maybe that's because I've come from previous XPSs, so I know exactly what I'm getting. But when I in this review, I looked at it specifically in the perspective of, if I'm buying this for work, this is a work computer I want to turn on every single day. This feels like a super reliable machine. The other thing I can't understate, it's really nice to have little power bricks, and they're cheap enough from
God,
Dell that for my old XPSs, I have them everywhere. I have one upstairs, I have one downstairs, and I have one at home, and I just get home and I plug in. It's really
Dell
nice.
and Lenovo both have been exceptionally good about, at least in their business lines, keeping all of the connectors exactly the same. And they they use them for years. And
Yep.
so once you start buying into that, then you
Yeah,
get
and
them
the-
everywhere. And I've got DC ones too. Dell makes a little DC one for that you can plug in to like your RV and stuff that I use all the time.
Oh, that's super nice. Yeah, I've used that. You've actually so the this is the power plug for the XPS, and it's got a little white LED on it that tells you that that the line has AC, which is really nice when you've got a whole bunch of plugs down. I've got so many wires down here, man. It's just a disaster down here. And so to be able to find it in the dark and know that it has power is really nice. And I've been using the same plug on my old XPS 2 generations ago that I am on this XPS. So all the accessories. Not only does Dell have a great line of accessories, which is kind of nice, but all of my previous ones I can still use. So I really think it's a really fantastic laptop. Research the sound issue. The way it's worked is there was a first model that Dell put out that had a coil whine. And Dell has a set of working expectations. They feel like if you're in an office space and maybe there's a little bit of ambient noise from like the air system and maybe some chatter, and you can't hear it at all, that's when the system's cooling itself. That's working as expected because this is a small laptop. It's a small cooling system. A little bit of noise is working as expected. If it is distracting and above that threshold, they consider that to be, I think, a problem. And so I think they've done a swap. There's like an A1 and an A2 or AO1 and AO2 series motherboard. And on the AO2 series motherboard, which I believe this might be, the problem is much better. Because we played, although we were not plugged in, which does make it run warmer probably if you're plugged in, but we played unplugged wirelessly for about 20 minutes of Minecraft, maybe a little more actually. And it wasn't until the last 5 or 10 minutes I ever heard anything. And that was after we had muted the speakers. So I could hear it, so I could listen to the machine. So it wasn't too bad, but I would take that into consideration. If you're looking for a workhorse machine, if I was going to bet on I've been talking about 5-year Linux, setting up a 5-year Linux computer. I had the realization a couple weeks ago, I also need to have bulletproof hardware.
Sure.
Because my workstation upstairs, which is where I was going to build my 5-year Linux workstation, I'm sitting there working the other day and my Ethernet just drops off. And I realized, my hardware could fail at me any moment. These XPS lines have been incredibly sturdy and reliable. And this feels like a 5-year workhorse. If I could afford to buy a machine and it was going to be my 5-year workstation, this might be the hardware I'd use. Because it really feels like it's a reliable, sturdy piece of equipment that if you spec it out nicely, it could last you a really long time. So I've got links in the show notes if you guys are curious about that, and more information about configurations and pricing and all that stuff is all listed in the show notes. That's the Linux Action Show's look at the XPS 13 Sputnik with Kaby Lake. So I started that zoomed in. So let me see how that looked like real quick. I started on this shot, and I'm supposed to be on this shot. See the difference there?
Hi guys, it's me Dylan here,
Yeah,
and
it's
today
not too
I'm back
bad,
and
though.
I'm with my dad.
Who? We're talking about
My-
the latest and greatest Dell
supposed to look like
XPS
that, and I
13
did that.
and the original Dell XPS 13.
Yep, I have stickers on it.
So the old Sputnik is back.
Well, fuck.
Well, that's an easy thing to fix, isn't it? He just drops the original video in.
Yeah, but I think Beard's overwhelmed with all the editing he has to do this week, so.
Well, you don't have to do all of it. You just got to do the first episode. Oh no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Oh my gosh, no, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
So we're gonna do, I don't know. We're gonna do now. Next is news. Yeah, and we'll do DigitalOcean because I'm changing it up this week.
Sweet.
Have you looked at the news at all? You might want to glance at it. Is this the? No, I think this is all mostly this.
No, this is.
This is one I think it's the next one where it's all news.
Yeah. Correct. Correct.
Oh, what? Now I was just maybe I can pull this up too since it's tangentially related. Oh yeah, what's this? Am I itching my? Oh yeah, that feels good.
Oh, you like that?
I do like it a lot.
You like it?
I do.
Hey, see new changes. Gosh darn it, Google. Gosh darn it.
Whoa, what was that? Did you hear that?
Hot. That was amazing.
Woo!
So hot.
Eep, 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 eep.
Dude.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. Hey, you know what? Actually.
What is it, honey?
VLC.
What?
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 What? I just thought of something.
VLC. VLC.
Yep.
Okay, are you ready? Are you
Okay,
ready? Are
I'm
you
ready.
ready? Are
I'm
you
ready.
ready? Are you 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 ready?
Ting this time.
Hey, are you ready, Noah? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Ready. I'm ready. Don't say ting. I'm ready.
No, you got to change it up. It's DigitalOcean.
I know. Not me. You. I say the same thing.
No, you don't. Hey, it's the news. Oh,
Okay.
wait, you don't say ting? Oh, I
No.
guess I say ting.
Yeah. So don't say ting.
Hey, Noah, quit screwing around.
Okay. All right. Hey, it's the news, and this episode is brought to you by
DigitalOcean. Go over to DigitalOcean.com and use our promo code Here's the Thing. All one word like you're slurring it and get a $10 credit over at the world's simplest, easy to use cloud hosting provider. Spin up a rig in a matter of seconds. They have pricing that can do hourly or monthly. Why not get a $5 a month rig? Use our promo code and get it free for 2 months. Try out something awesome on a Linux machine with a crazy great infrastructure, all SSDs, and a UI that'll blow your mind. Even if you have future vision, you wouldn't have seen something this well designed. Plus, they have a great straightforward API to back it all up, and they have SSDs on every tier. I love it. I love it. And check this out, too. They have a brand new fancy features that really make you look like the next level boss. Load Balancer. You can scale your applications and improve availability for who? The users. That's right. Load Balancers automatically distribute incoming traffic across your infrastructure, managed entirely within the DigitalOcean infrastructure or API. That's so cool. And Noah, you might like this one. Lots of open source community projects around DigitalOcean's API. Tons of stuff. How about this one? Back up your droplets to Dropbox. Mm-hmm.
what?
Actually, this is the reverse. You see what I did there?
Yeah.
They do actually
I see
have a
what you did
tutorial,
there.
but this is the reverse. You create a DigitalOcean droplet, and then you set up some block storage if you want, or you can just use the built-in storage on the DigitalOcean droplet.
Oh.
Yeah, and this backs up your Dropbox to DigitalOcean.
Okay. I thought I was getting thrown under the bus there for a second. Yeah. Oh, that. Yeah.
I
that
was
would
just
be really
teasing
helpful.
you. Yeah, I was teasing you.
No,
Yeah.
here, new idea for me. So now we can go, and what you're telling me is Altispeed needs to be launching a service called Backup Your Dropbox.
Yeah, man.
And for X amount of dollars a month, we'll pull
Yep.
all your Dropbox.
And when you
back up
create
to
your
us.
account, use the promo code Here's the Thing, and you could try out you could start charging your clients before you even have to pay $1. It's incredible what you can do at DigitalOcean.com. Use our promo code Here's the Thing, and a big thank you to DigitalOcean for sponsoring the Linux Action Show. DigitalOcean.com. Promo code Here's the Thing. There is somebody out there doing stunts in the sky. Can you hear them at all? We have you can hear it? You can hear the airplane in the background?
Yeah.
Great, good. Glad to hear. I'm glad the day that we're recording multiple episodes, that's when they're having a party out in the sky. And they go crazy out there. People in Munich are going crazy, and it looks like they're poised to ditch Linux and go back to, what? Windows, and Windows 10 at that. Like, to put a little extra salt in the wound, they're going to go to Windows 10 by 2021. Basically, what happened is a total failure of leadership, improper support of the IT department, and users who were constantly complaining. And then on the back end, a lobbyist from Microsoft that was pressuring through different means like government and friends and bribery to push people in this direction. That's just my personal take, though. But I am very disappointed to see this announcement because everybody likes to run with this story because it's the original open source poster child. The original Linux switch fails. I hate the spin of this story because what the story should really be is switching platforms is hard, especially when you have vendors that are willing to line your pockets to make you keep using their operating system. Kind of disappointed in the switch, but at the same time, I desperately want to see this story come to an end.
There's a couple of things. First of all, I think that it's really sad that we have reached a point where we are okay with tax dollars who ultimately fund the government from the citizens, and they are going to pay for alternatives that will ultimately cost them more money down the road. Additionally, I think that they picked interesting timing to make a switch back to Windows because things are getting easier and easier and easier on Linux. take, for example, let's say you had a bunch of users that were complaining about LibreOffice and they just didn't like LibreOffice. Well, as of right now, you can go sign up for a 365 subscription. You can use Microsoft Office, supported Microsoft Office with Microsoft support on Linux with no problems. And we've seen G Suite as a drop-in replacement for Outlook and Exchange. And so if you had a lot of people that were really attached to the way they did things inside of Outlook and Exchange, you could literally, there are services that you can drop in, and all of these things work flawlessly on Linux. And that wasn't the case back when Munich originally switched over to Linux. And
they switched. It was a different era, man.
And we've dove in and talked about the way that they went about it, and the specific software and the choices that they made, and how all of those ultimately led to a bad.
Could you imagine today deciding to go with something like Linux, like creating your own Linux? That would never happen. You just wouldn't do that.
No. It was poorly implemented, and more, the most important thing, and you kind of summed it up, and just, this is not an example of how anyone that understands the Linux system would go about switching somebody to Linux.
Yeah, it was it was a mindset of a previous era that was not successful. All right, this is something that is just kind of a community FYI heads up. The old Skype Linux client, the Qt one, is likely going to stop working on March 1st. Microsoft sent out a final reminder to old Skype users, and they say that the 4.3 version of Skype will no longer work after March 1st, 2017. They're transitioning to that new Linux client. We've experimented with it a little bit. Like 3 weeks ago, we did another episode just as a test. It does do 16:9 video now, so that is something that the Qt client was sort of held around for by a lot of people because they needed it to do video. Now the new Alpha does video, and it actually had a great picture when we tried it. I still thought the audio sounded horrible, and I think what we're on right now, which is Jitsi Meet, is much better. But if you're on the old Skype, probably for compatibility reasons or whatever, expect things to quit working very soon. So we wanted to get the word out there to you guys. Skype recently began to roll out video support in the Linux Alpha, and as the Qt app phases out, I would imagine they'll probably put more and more work into Skype Web and the I think it's an Electron app on Linux.
So here's where I'm a little confused, or I guess very curious of where they're going with this. So Microsoft, if they're discontinuing 4.3 for Linux, obviously the assumption would be that, and they have this new Alpha, which is not just Linux specific; it's available on all the platforms. Do you think that down the road they're thinking of moving all of Skype to this new Skype Alpha?
That is the thinking, I believe, yeah. From what I've kind of been able to put together, this is the new. So Microsoft, it's not just confusing outside, it's confusing inside too. They have like 3 different Skype client teams or something like that. And behind the scenes, they're starting this new Alpha, and then they're merging everything behind this particular client, I believe is the intention. And so they're consolidating around this Electron app that uses WebRTC to facilitate a lot of the communications. Kind of amazing.
We've talked about how frustrating it is that oftentimes you can get a very solid connection on 2 Windows boxes running the traditional Skype client. Do you think that the ability to do that is coming to an end?
Yeah, man. The funny part about all of this is Skype over the next year is going to get very competitive on Linux, just as everything else is good enough that you don't need it anymore. So they finally got their act together, and it's too late. Like, you have Jitsi Meet. There's lots of other things that people talk about constantly in our chat room that you could use. It's sort of ironic. It's kind of typical Microsoft, really. It's like this is something they just did too late. Like, if they would have made this move sooner, they could have owned this market. But instead, a million other things are coming out. This is big news for you because you're a gamer.
I am. Listen. You have a problem with me? Let's fight at LAN. Fight me at LAN.
Right.
I'll no-scope you 1v1.
I don't know if this is your speed. But a new Civilization game's out for GNU/Linux.
Liam here from Gaming on Linux. Just going to do a short video today for you. It's the new Asper Media Linux port of Civilization 6, a port we've been waiting for a little while, but it's finally here, and I'm really, really excited. I put loads of hours into it already. I plan to put loads more. And it's just a short video just to give you an idea of how it actually runs.
I would definitely check out Liam's video. I have it linked in the show notes. It makes the Civ 6 world look so awesome, Noah. Look at like how epic this thing looks in scope and how I want to live in this world so much. I've never been a big Civ player, but they do have a sale. Although by the time you hear this, it might be wrapped up, but you get up to 25% off. I really like Aspire. I think that's how you're supposed to say their name. I really think they've made really good ports. Some of the best ports on Linux have come from Aspire. And so Liam has it. What's that?
Their friends have ports. They're friends of the best ports.
The best
They make
ports.
the
Yeah,
best
I talked to really good people over there, and some of the best work, some of the best ports. Really good, really good. Anyways, you can find Liam's thoughts. This is a big game. This is like one of those, there are people in our audience, Noah, that this is the game for them. You know, we talk about these every now and then. Like, there's obviously most gamers play mini games, but there's some gamers, they play a game. Dota, I remember people talking about Dota, how they used to want to play, what's that, Counter-Strike? Yeah, Counter-Strike. Yeah, now it could be Civ 6 for another category of users. So that's really interesting. And while we're talking kind of about Steam-related stories, this is obviously, it's available on Steam, that's where the sale's at. This story that wasn't directly related to Steam machines caught my attention and has me concerned a little bit. I've been wondering what the hell's going on with Steam machines. They just seem dead in the water. There's been no progress. Yeah. No announcements from Dell. No announcements from Valve at CES. But Eurogamer.net has an interview with Gabe. And Gabe kind of implies something that concerns me about the future of Steam machines. So he was talking about VR and how he thinks VR is huge for Valve, but it just has to be very specific use cases. And he thinks one of the other things that might make VR take off, and he says they have 2 games in development for VR. He says one of the questions you might be asking is why in the world would you be making hardware? Newell continued. What we can do now is we can be designing hardware at the same time we're designing the software. This is something, and he talks about the Nintendo founder, this is something the Nintendo founder always had. He had the ability to think about what the input device is and design a system while he designs the games. Our sense is that this will actually allow us to build a much better entertainment experience for people. Now, what this kind of possibly reads like to me is, we tried this Steam machine idea. It was this general platform where everybody's going to go off and build one, and it was not the right approach. What we need to do is the iPhone Pixel approach, where we build the hardware and the software and we control the entire experience and build a VR game around that. And so maybe they're using SteamOS as the base for this hardware, but it sounds to me like a change in direction. So the way Valve works is very unstructured, and whatever project is getting the most organic support by the people in the company is the one that wins. It's not like there's a PMO who says, we're now shifting as a company our focus on this. That's actually not how Valve works. It's, I want to work on this. Do you want to work on this? Yeah, I want to work on this. All right, let's all come work on this. And a lot of people have left the company, and the people remaining seem like they would be more in this camp. So keeping in mind the structure of Valve, it seems very likely that this is the more popular idea and opinion that's won out in the company, is let's build the entire stack and we'll release the Valve VR machine. And I think Steam machines and this whole general platform that Alienware and Dell and HP could release Steam machines is maybe not their focus anymore, and they're just not saying anything. Am I being too afraid, do you think? Am I overthinking it?
I think there's a couple of points. First of all, I think that I don't know that necessarily letting them build everything from the ground up and saying, okay, here is X is necessarily a bad thing, particularly if they're going to put Linux on there and have the support and stuff like that. Second of all, I think for Gabe's comment to be true, really, we only need to focus on the input device. It doesn't really matter what the actual gaming device is. I
agree.
And third of all, and this is where I think it really takes off, is that I think Valve tried the community, here we go, here's an idea, now go forth and multiply approach. And I think it flopped mostly because everyone didn't want to buy in. So for example, if you look at Steam machines, everyone was going to make a Steam machine, and then what happened? 80% of them ran Windows. They put Windows on it and installed Steam on it. And it wasn't a Steam machine. It was a crappy Windows box that had the Steam client installed, which wasn't really what Valve wanted, I think, from the beginning. And then they had a couple of the, quote unquote, blessed ones that had, Steam OS, but because everyone was just treating them they weren't treating them as a console, they were treating them as a computer that was preloaded with Steam on it. And so they didn't get the development of console-based games and this, that, and the other. So I think twisting that approach just a little bit and saying, we'll release SteamOS, and hey, Dell, if you want to go out and you want to make something and compete with us, knock yourself out. But here is the console box that's running our software built the way that we want to build it. And here are a list of games or developers that we brought on board to build games for this specific system. Now go for it. I don't think that's a bad approach.
Yeah, I definitely like the idea of custom building hardware input devices that go with a Steam machine for a specific game. That seems like a real winner. I think though they're gonna have to get to a point. The problem with VR really is the wires. They're all over the
sure.
place, and so
yeah.
what people are experimenting a lot with is like VR backpacks where there's like an i7 with a GTX on your back, and then like the wires are much shorter. And I wonder if you had hardware specific to a specific type of game, if you couldn't make that even smaller and make that even more compact. And make the VR experience even simpler, where you put on the helmet, maybe a little computer the size of a nut goes on your back and some controllers, something like that. I just really hope that they don't abandon the Steam machines. I like that as leverage to get more games on desktop Linux. That's really, but that isn't a good enough incentive for Valve. So I really wonder where they're going with it. But I'd like to hear the audience's thoughts. linuxactionshow.reddit.com. Leave your thoughts in the feedback thread. And if there's a news story you'd like to see us cover this week, drop it in there too, and we'll try to incorporate it into a future episode. But that's all the news for this week. Okay, now we are doing
Picks.
we're doing the picks.
Picks. It's time for the picks.
It's time for the
Oh,
picks.
yeah.
It's time for the picks. It's time for the picks. We haven't done that distro before, huh? I suppose not. I suppose not. That's right, Noah. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Fucking go, Noah. Go. Yeah. Do it, Noah. Do it. Uh-huh.
I need. Here's what I need.
The TTX02 is a race platform based on an acclaimed road chassis built with the technology that won the TTX GP for 2009, and it's available for any team that wants to rock up to the grid and know that what they're riding is already among the very best in the world.
You asked the question
Cool,
about
this thing
challenges,
runs
and
on.
all I can see are fabulous opportunities for new sponsors, new drivers, new racers, new equipment. It's just a marvelous world of opportunity that's opening up.
Why aren't there more electric bikes? Why are we focusing on electric cars? Why aren't we doing more electric bikes?
I think
That
mostly
seems-
because people that buy bikes will want to sacrifice absolutely everything and anything to get that extra couple miles per hour.
Oh, miles. So do you think it's distance? Because you probably couldn't put a big enough battery.
No,
on
no,
there?
no, 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 miles per hour. Like the
Oh, but the
first
electric
thing.
cars are super fast, dude. Like,
Yeah, I know, but like the first thing I did when I got my Gixxer was I
First heard
took it up to 160 miles an hour because I could. Like
of the idea of the TTX.
yeah, but you've seen like, even like the shitty cheaper. Like, I'm not even talking Tesla. I'm talking like the lower end electric
Volt?
cars have like
Volt.
incredible takeoff, like 0 to 60. It's like,
yeah.
I would just say, and I would buy one if they were reasonable price,
yeah?
like if they were mass market. If I would love to be able to commute in something that wasn't my truck, but still have my truck.
Huh. I don't know why.
The TTX GP has been an adventure of a lifetime. It culminated in a single day where we changed history.
Okay.
What's so funny?
I just like when people are changing history.
You don't like people changing?
No, I like it. How do you suppose you say it? Maven? How do you suppose you Maizen?
Maven.
It's
Whatever it is.
Mavizen.
Mavizen.
Jeez,
Here's
dude.
what I think you should do. Say it the way that you think you're going to say it, and then don't say it that way because it's probably wrong.
So we have done Linux Academy and DigitalOcean, but we have not done Ting yet. So let's do Ting next.
Roger.
Do. Are you feeling like you could do one more?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, dude.
Oh yeah.
Damn, marathon over there, dude. Boop, 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 boop.
Are you kidding, bro? I could talk about Linux all day long.
All day. Do you know which Moto you got?
Which what?
Do you know which Moto you got by chance?
Which?
Motorola phone you got?
No, but it's
Wow, that's a good deal.
over there.
All right. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes,
Are
sir.
you ready? Are you ready? So we're doing the picks.
Hold on one second. Let me go grab my phone so I can see which one it is.
Do you think we should have Noah say, "Hey, it's the picks," and it's brought to you by? Do you think you should say, "Hey, it's the picks," and it's brought to you by, or is that too much of a ripoff of the news?
We could try it. No, You
It's
don't like
time
it?
for the picks. How about you just do like an excited "It's time for the picks" and
Okay.
say it's brought to you by?
That could work. That could work. Should we do that?
All right, let's do that, Noah.
Okay.
All right. Hey.
Hey.
Let's do it.
All right. It's time for the picks, and this episode is brought. Oh no, you don't like episode. I can't do that. You don't like episode. You hate it when I say episode.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Okay. It's time for the picks, and it's brought to you by
Ting. Go to last.ting.com and save a little money and support the show at last.ting.com. It's mobile that makes sense. No contract, no early termination fee, and you only pay for what you use. $6 for the line, and then just your usage on top of that. Average bill for a one line, $23 a month. They have CDMA and GSM to choose from, so you can either bring a device and save a little cash, or go pick up a new one. In fact, I got a couple of suggestions. If you just want to make some dang calls and have like a week-long battery life and have good, clear, loud audio, the Kyocera Duro XTP, $63. Now, this one's so cheap, they're going to give you $25 service credit too. This is a workhorse phone. Look at this rubberized texture on the sides, rugged as heck. Look at that screw on the back too. This thing is like legit. I kind of want a phone like this. If I could get Telegram messages on this, I would probably go this route. $63 and you only pay for what you use. Now, if you want to get a little bit of fancy phone, but you still want a great deal, look at the LG G5. Look at this thing. $324, no contract, pay for what you use, you own it outright. Or you can bring a device to Ting as well. They got the dual camera lenses on this thing. What's that about? Switch between standard and wide angle cameras.
Isn't that cool?
This is really cool. Man, there's a lot of good devices. It's great service, great customer service. Check it out at last.ting.com. They're on a mission to finally make mobile make sense, and you can vote with your wallet. Shake up the duopoly at last.ting.com. Yes, sir.
So last week I damaged my phone, and so I purchased it's the Moto X Pure, and interesting, like I was looking at another phone that they offer from Motorola, and basically what they have is they have like widget attachments that go onto the back of this phone. I don't know if you've seen this, but basically like they have like a full on DSLR camera that like you can attach, and you can take that off. You can put a projector on it and like project things.
I've seen the projector too.
So that phone was a little more. It was like $499, and I didn't want to spend that much, and so I got the Moto XP. I think it was like $200 or $250 or something like that.
Unlocked?
Yep,
That's
completely
nice,
unlocked
man.
and available at Best Buy.
You just drop the SIM in there, put it on Ting, you're good to go.
That's exactly what I did.
Last.ting.com. Thanks to Ting for sponsoring the Linux Action Show. All right, let's start with the picks. Check out this really cool Runs Linux. I don't even know how you found this. There's no way I'm going to pronounce this right. The Mavizen, it's Mavizen. But that doesn't matter. It's an electric motorcycle that runs Linux and can go 130 horses per hour. Miles per hour. This is nuts, guys. Look at this sweet rig with a top speed of 130 miles per hour running on top of Linux. Got a little video for you.
The TTX GP has been an adventure of a lifetime. It culminated in a single day where we changed history.
It's pretty awesome music too.
Teams, engineers, riders, spectators, all coming together and making a step and changing the world.
130 miles per hour. It uses USB-based system bus to allow virtually an unlimited number of peripherals to extend the capability of the machine with plug and play. It's a race machine, but it's got like all these extra little things that you'd never even think about, like the kind of batteries they're in and all this stuff are in the details of this video. So if you're fascinated by it, it's worth checking out. I was just saying in the pre-show, Noah, I want more of these because this sucker, this is not a mainstream product. So it would cost about 41,000 US greenbacks to build something like this, which isn't nuts, but if you could get something cheaper, an electric bike like this that had good range and good pep, so cool. And it runs Linux, dude. Where did you find this?
That's awesome. Here's the thing. I browse all of these various different sites, and I'm also in all of these different little Telegram groups where we exchange information. I think, and what's funny is, this had nothing to do with any of this. I actually think my wife found that.
That's great.
Yeah, and I think she's like, this motorcycle runs Linux. She's like, check this out. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. But yeah, so it's not, I guess it's not very well populated inside of the Linux community, but it is very cool nonetheless.
I've always had a dream, Noah. I've had a dream for about 2 days after I bought Lady Jupes, and that was I would love to be able to tow an electric vehicle and have the wheels spinning and the braking charge the battery, or
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
or be able to plug it into Lady Jupe, since Lady Jupe's is generating electricity.
You know what would be interesting, and I don't know exactly how this works, but it would be interesting that if somebody could do some sort of calculation, what is the loss and stuff like that if the weight of the vehicle getting towed, and then as the wheels are spinning, if that were to power like a magnet inside of a coil,
Yeah.
is that an efficient way to generate electricity, or would you be better off just getting it totally off the ground and then
It's got to be better than nothing. It's got to be better than nothing. It's got to be. If you're towing it anyways, if you're already going to be towing it.
Yeah.
Or just let me plug in. Like, let me plug it in while I'm driving. But a bike like this would be really doable. Just got to get it down by about $40,000. And maybe I should just get a bike. Just a regular old bike.
No kidding.
I have no Mavizen, that's a great name. It's the TTX02 electric motorcycle that runs Linux. And it's a neat sports bike. Gosh, I want one of those. Yeah, and then you gotta install your updates. I sent Noah a picture last night. I was out. I have Lady Jupes has a television built on the outside of her, and I'm outside at my campsite, and it's waiting for an update for my Chromecast. I'm like, okay, so now I'm updating my RV's television. This is 2017.
You wished for this. This is your fault.
I know.
You wanted this to happen.
I need less distractions. That's what I need.
And then he has the audacity to say, "I'm out camping at the campfire watching TV," and I'm like, "You're not camping. That's not camping."
Don't don't be an anti-campite. It's a campsite. That's what they call it. It's their terminology. I don't call it that.
Okay.
If you got a campfire and you're lighting that fire and you're at a campsite, it's a
You got
camp.
your plasma, and your internet connection, and your
LCD,
Chromecast, and your
get
air
it right.
conditioning, and your full-size refrigerator, and your stove, and oh my gosh, Chris, let's talk about
I need less.
undistracting.
I see. I tried to make this segue 5 minutes ago. I need less distractions in my life. That's really the problem, Noah. Perhaps you can help me with today's desktop app pick.
So one of the things that I do all the time is I'm copying a file or I'm waiting for something to finish inside of the terminal. And the problem is I have to wait and I have to keep watching that terminal to see what's happening.
Yeah.
Really what I've done, my answer to that up until this point has been Quake. I tap on that whatever the tilde key and pull down the thing. Nope, not done. Put it back up. Go back.
I just
to
forget
whatever
about
I'm
it. Is
doing.
what I do. I just forget about it.
That's not good because then you get clients that are pissed. So Undistract Me is a project that basically notifies you when a long-running terminal process or command has been complete. And so if let's say you're DDing an ISO onto flash,
man.
you'll get a notification when that finishes. So just playing with it just for a little bit, and it is phenomenal. It's going to quickly become one of the first things that I install.
The fine folks at Fedora, I think, include this extension with their GNOME implementation, and Elementary OS does something with their desktop as well.
Excellent.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
So Undistract-me, it's on GitHub. We'll have a link in the show notes, and there's a PPA available for you Ubuntu-loving users. I'm willing to bet. Should we just take a wild guess? Should we see if it's in the AUR? I'm willing to bet. Really? You don't think so?
I'm just kidding.
Oh, really? That's good, dude. That's good. Actually, not in the AUR. Survey says
really,
survey says no. Survey says
Okay, all right, fine. Just search Undistract. I don't believe it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't believe it.
I know that is weird, right?
Maybe they didn't put the dash
Maybe
in
it'll
or
be
whatever.
fixed by the time we're done.
That can't be right. I think we're doing something wrong then.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
Okay.
I don't buy it.
All right. Good.
So let me ask you something, Chris.
Sir, yes,
Are
sir.
you sick? Are you sick of your Linux distribution breaking and your workflow being interrupted after an update?
I just can't handle it, Noah.
Would you wish there was an easy way that you could just roll back or drop in a configuration file and all of the way that you've set up your desktop
Noah,
could be persistent?
I want to just set it and forget it.
Well, let me introduce you to NixOS. This is our distro pick of the week. And basically what NixOS does is it makes it easy to save and restore your config file. And that basically the entire config of the entire system is one gigantic configuration file.
This is nuts.
It allows you to rebuild in almost no time, and it virtually never breaks your machines because you can always roll the system back. And I have a good friend that runs actually he has a gigantic Ceph cluster running in dedicated boxes that he has in a data center, and then he actually maintains and builds packages on these machines for NixOS. Of course, the machines themselves are running NixOS. So it is a very different approach to Linux. It is definitely, and I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, I'm going to say it anyway, it's a boutique distribution, and it is tailored towards a specific set of users. But if you're the kind of person that wants you want to build your Linux distribution the way that you want it, and you want the software that you want and exactly how you want it, and you need the ability to take that particular thing, like once you get it tweaked, and then blow it all over the place to a bunch of different machines.
Yeah.
NixOS, baby.
That'd be. I wonder if your friend would be up for it. That'd be such a cool way to do a review of a distro, is to go review it in an infrastructure environment like that, and actually get see it in production and review that. That would be such a cool segment. Yeah. So he also uses, surprise, surprise, the Nix package manager, which they say is a completely declarative package manager, which is their approach to configuration management too, which makes upgrades reliable as well as many other features. So it's interesting, this more and more of these, Noah, are really going after the DevOps, sysadmin kind of like big infrastructure. There's a lot of people going for that, from like the XPSN on the laptops to NixOS and others. I hear a lot of good things about NixOS. I'm really glad we made this one of our distribution picks, and they've been around now for a little while too. So it seems to be they're getting some traction. Check them out at nixos.org. That's nixos.org, or you'll find a link in the show notes. Also check out jupiterbroadcasting.com/lastpicks, LAS picks, for all our previous desktops and distros and even Android apps are all listed out there. From time to time, they get updated by producer Michael, so it's a nice up-to-date list, which is always handy if you're deploying a new Linux box. All right, that's all the picks for this week. Let's get to your emails. I do declare. That's funny. That's good. I see what you did there. That's good. Well, that first one's big. You want me to read the first
actually,
one?
you know what? Actually, about that. So I meant to cut that down.
I can read it if you want. I don't mind. I usually bust through them pretty
No,
quick.
that's fine. Okay, all right. No, this isn't a long one.
Oh, geez, it's a nice day
that's
out
not-
here. It's like all sunny
Hold on.
and shit.
Hold on. You think that one's long? That wasn't the one I was talking about. Must be the other episode. I guess we'll worry about that next episode.
We probably have room in next episode. Oh, unless
Okay.
you don't. Is your thing
It's-
really long?
No, it's not.
oh,
But
you mean
the
email
but
really
the but the email is like,
okay.
I mean, it's a freaking no. And the thing is, like, when I read it, here's what happened. Like, I sat down and I was like, I'm going through email, and all of a sudden I read the first couple lines and I start getting into it. And I was eating, what was it? I think I was eating roast beef, and I was like, and then I started to get into it, and then it was like I was like in novel mode. I'm like, well, what happens next? And then I got to the end. I'm like, that's great. And then I pasted it in there, and as soon as I saw like the page break happen, and then it continued down, I'm like, oh.
Do you think you could summarize it?
Yeah, I think we
Okay.
should.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is it
but that's
Is it William you're talking about that has the?
yeah, that does Nix. Yeah,
Dude, we should totally talk to. How far? Where is William located at?
California. I'm going to see him during scale.
You think? Yeah. What do you think about? Doing a segment on that someday?
Yeah, sure. I would love to.
Well, it's really him. You should talk to him about it.
Yeah, here's the thing. He's super busy, but he takes time off for scale anyway. So I'm going to be with him, so we could sit down and bang out a segment right there.
It'd be nice to actually see it though.
Wait,
So you're gonna go to scale for 2 days. How long do you think you're gonna be there?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, probably.
Okay.
What?
You have to
define-
leave after
what do
the
you
show.
mean by- What do you mean by see it?
It'd just be good to get some shots of the rigs or like screens of the setup or something.
Oh, well, here's the thing. He like the rigs they're in a data center. Like he's like
I know.
he.
Well, fine. I'll go
Oh,
get
okay.
B-roll of a data center then. Jeez.
No,
I didn't think they were on his desk.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I mean, the computers in a rack, but we could go there. We could go to the data center and film the things, if that's what you wanted.
Oh no! I want to look at your face the entire time.
No, I'm not talking about that. But what I'm saying is, all the stuff that happens, like all the stuff he does, is happening on his screen. Like, I mean, yes, there are computers.
Wait a minute.
in
You
rack.
went to Applebee's last week, man? What the hell?
How'd you know that? How'd you know that? Wait,
What? Like I don't follow you constantly? Come on. I like how perplexed you are. That's funny.
well, no, because I actually was at Applebee's last night. I don't know how Count Dracula knew that.
He says he saw you there.
You're in Grand Forks.
You know, I meant to mention on last week's Unplugged that I was willing to do a barbecue before Unplugged this week if anybody want to show up, but I can't remember what day Beard's flying out. Probably shouldn't do that.
Tuesday.
Yeah, so I probably shouldn't invite everybody over for a barbecue Tuesday then. Probably be a bad idea.
Wednesday. Leaves Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I could then. It's kind of too late though.
Yeah.
He's just kind of ate through. We've almost eaten through an entire sack of Costco hamburgers. It's kind of amazing. All right, are you ready? So do we have System 76 left, correct?
System 76. Yes, sir.
All right. Wednesday.
All right. That's what I said.
I know. He's just on a delay, so I was just acknowledging that he said it. All right, here we go. I am recording. It is the feedback segment and authority in a two. I just realized something. I guess we don't really need to make mention of the flow, right? We could just mention it next episode. Let's mention it next. All right, here we go in 3 and 2. And that brings us to the end of this week's broadcast. Before we get into your emails, and oh, there are some emails this week, I want to thank System 76 for sponsoring this segment. System76.com. Go over there and find yourself a rig built for Linux, supported and runs damn easy with just about any distribution you pick. That's the real secret. They run them with Ubuntu out of the box. They give great support for that. It's like the perfect experience if you want a trouble-free machine. Go that route. If you want to experiment with other distributions, OpenSUSE, Fedora, Arch, man, I've had no problem running them on different System 76 computers over the years. That's what I really like about it is they really, really obsess over little small details that you might not even consider that they spend a world of time thinking about to make it easy out of the box. And then they have systems like the frickin' Oryx Pro. You can get a GTX 10 series, 15 or 17-inch with a matte display if you like, which that's the way I'm going these days. IPS display and up to 64 gigabytes of RAM in a laptop. Wow. Also, if you're already a System 76 customer and just want to help us out and tell them that Noah switched you to Linux, they also sell swag. You can go to System 76 and grab yourself a shirt. They have some really cool designs. Really, really like that hoodie there. System76.com/swag if you want to take a look at that. And when you check out, whatever you're getting, tell them that Noah switched you to Linux. So that way we get another check in our column. System76.com. All right, Mr. Noah, I'm going to take on this first email here that comes in from Dana, and it says she's talking about mirrored hard drives. Greeting, guys. After a recent ad on my computer that was running Windows 10, I had just enough. I currently have Linux installed on a 500 gigabyte hard drive, and Windows 10 still exists on a 1 terabyte boot drive with REFS mirrored for media on 2 terabyte drives. I like to mirror the 2 terabyte drives for the media and perhaps move my home directory over to the 1 terabyte drive with no software RAID, and I was thinking about maybe using ZFS. I'm running Antergos on my desktop and laptop, so I'd appreciate any pointers since last time I tried ZFS with Antergos, a kernel update trashed things. Yeah, we've run into that bug here at the studio too. And I think it may not be fixed yet either. Rikai would know. The bug is essentially that I think it builds the kernel image for boot before the ZFS update is installed. So the version of the kernel that I think is loaded doesn't support using ZFS for your root file system. So you have to rebuild the kernel. And anyways, I think that was I can't remember. Essentially, the bug is just in the order of execution of the packages getting installed. And so I think there's a little debate if it's actually a bug or not. And so it persists. She goes on, I'm running Antergos on my desktop and laptop, so I'd appreciate any pointers. I'm familiar with ZFS somewhat, but only under BSD, and I've been running Linux on and off since even before version 1.0 of Linux. By the way, I'd like this to be a stable running system. Thanks for all the shows. You guys rock. So what do you think, Noah? The concept is a mirror drive for like your home or your root necessary for it to be a stable system, or do you think you could get away with like snapshots and stuff?
So first of all, I'll start off by saying this. Mirrored is not backing up. That is not a backup solution. And so if that's your plan, if that's your crash plan, so to speak, just stop. You need a new backup solution to begin with.
Yep.
Having said that, there are some ways that you can increase system reliability.
It helps reliability, right? It's not about backup. Yep.
But there's going to be somebody out there that's going to say, well, why is she backing up? The way that I have gone about doing this is actually not with ZFS, although you could do that. I have actually tackled this exact problem using LVM. And so I add them all to a volume group and then spread that out over those 2 drives, let them configure them to back up to each other. That way, if one goes out, I just drop that out of the volume group and put a new drive back into the volume group and then let it I guess it's not resilvering it with LVM, but rejigger itself back into the array.
That's a really great tried and true way to do it. Lots of big deployments do LVM snapshots. I was reading about GitLab's recent server issues, and they actually the LVM snapshots failed them, but not because they're LVM snapshots. It was just because of how they have them scheduled. But really large deployments are using LVM. And the nice thing about that is then the file system could be as simple as extended 4 if you want, tried, true, reliable, bulletproof extended 4. However, in this case, Dana, since you have ZFS experience, I say go for it. I just would definitely test on Anagros. The discussion is taking place in the chat room right now. Everybody's saying, yeah, when I tried Anagros, I've had issues after updates. So I would run a test machine first. Otherwise, if you're stuck on ZFS, definitely consider maybe 1604 with the ZFS support that's available, because the way they do that is they package the ZFS code at the same time they package the kernel, and they ship it all as a package. So you're not going to have the problem you have in Anacros. I like Noah's idea better though. Because you're not dealing with large sets of drives, you're dealing with single terabyte and 2 terabyte drives. Two terabyte drives. I think ZFS is overdoing it for what you get. You're not going to really gain anything in the performance area. There's more memory overhead. What you'd be really getting out of ZFS would be data checksums. You could use compression. That would be a big reason to use ZFS, is to use compression. But a lot of the other features, you could get ZFS send and receive, which makes future machine migrations easier. So there's still some definite advantages to ZFS in this setup. But I would make sure you have enough memory, and I would definitely consider Noah's approach on this setup. If you had more drives, then I would probably change that. But with your setup, I would maybe consider something simpler. And the nice thing about that is that's how Linux has been doing it now for so long, that there's a ton of guides and documentation. And I mention that because if you get stuck, something screws up, your machine won't boot, it's super nice to be able to go to something that's tried and true and well established in the community. Because when you're kind of in that, oh my God, I got to recover mode, it helps get to the resolution faster.
Absolutely.
That's all right. So there's now Jim B. You want to take that?
Yeah. Jim B writes in and he says ThinkPad's now shipping with Linux. The ThinkPad P51, the P51S, the P51, and the P71 have been announced with options for Linux pre-installed. Guessing you probably saw this, but now Linux is a pre-installed option, and then he gives a link to how Lenovo is now selling a line of laptops with Linux. And I think this is particularly poignant for a couple of reasons. One is because we are seeing a lot of people leave the Apple infrastructure and going to places like Dell and System 76, and now Lenovo is going to compete in that structure. But also because Lenovo really has, we have, some of us like them, some of us hate them, but the reality is that they have been a staple in the Linux community. They have been a refuge for people to go to install Linux on that since before there were companies that specialized in making Linux hardware, and there are those of us that have owned a lot of ThinkPads and have had excellent experiences with Linux on it. So it's kind of nice that it took them 25 years, but it's nice that eventually now the ThinkPad line is going to officially recognize that there are a set of people that want to use Linux on their computer.
So this is the P51 here. Damn, this thing looks like a monster. So I guess the P must stand for power.
The P is their mobile workstation line, I believe.
So this one isn't available yet, but it has Xeon processors in the son of a gun, which is kind of amazing. But where do you see anything on here about GNU/Linux? I don't see anything about. Oh, dude, it's got a docking station.
Yeah, all the ThinkPads do. I think it was on his. Are you at the link that he sent or Lenovo's site?
Oh, I just went to Lenovo's site. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has. I think in the link is he has it has a discussion about how they're going to get Linux on there.
What I want to see. Oh my gosh. Full screen pop-up. What I want to see is I go to Lenovo.com or whatever their website is, and when I'm just configuring this machine, I just want to see Linux as a drop-down. So it says in April, for $1,400, you'll be able to get your hands on the ThinkPad P51 with a Xeon E3 V6 processor, NVIDIA Quadro graphics, and up to 64 gigabytes of RAM, which will come with Red Hat Enterprise Linux or Ubuntu Linux OS.
Instead of Windows 10.
Yeah, right there on the page, Linus OS. That might not be Lenovo's language, though. That might be the on msft.com.
Yeah.
But the P71 will be a 17-inch version with NVIDIA Quadro graphics, also available in April. You know what's fascinating about these? What might be even a bigger story in the fact that they're going to have a Linux version is they still have a freaking Windows 7 version. You can get Windows 7 on these things.
That does not surprise me.
Really, though? I mean,
Here's the thing. All
I
of
thought
the
Microsoft
computers-
put the kibosh on that for somehow.
Nah. Here's I have so many clients that are still buying Dell machines and will buy directly from Dell because they can get it still with Windows 7. I mean, there has not been a huge migration to Windows 10. There's a lot of people that are digging their feet.
Tell
heels
that
in.
to Munich.
Yeah, well, they're gonna.
Munich needs Cortana, man. They need Cortana.
Really, listen. They can do whatever they want, but they are literally picking the most diverse divisive operating system there is, because there are still half the manufacturers still are not supporting Windows 10. There's still drivers that don't exist for Windows 10, software that doesn't work on Windows 10, and then on the other hand, you have places that have discontinued support for Windows 7. So the 7 and 10 thing, that is a mess. I would not want. So
I know.
Good luck to Munich.
You
Good
know,
luck to you.
I'm looking at this. P51. This is kind of speaking my language with this large screen and this. I don't need Quadro or Xeon though. That's just a waste of money from what I do. That is a waste. But if they put something here with an i7 and a GTX 10 series,
They're definitely laptops for people that want to get work done. That's for sure.
man, that looks
So
like a
it's-
serious workhorse. That's so that's pretty interesting. Yeah. So who was that sent that in there? Thanks, Jim. Yeah, taking a look at that. I guess do you watch Lenovo closely like that? Did you already know about these machines, or was that news to you too?
I knew that Lenovo was refreshing their lineup. As I said, a couple weeks ago, I am dumping my 260 to buy the 270 that has USB-C. And I'm very excited.
Yes.
But other than that,
I want all USB-C everywhere. I don't have many devices. I have a couple, and I'm just ready for it to take over everywhere. Speaking of things that take over, Twitter took over the way people get a hold of me. Twitter.com/ChrisLAS is how you contact me. What about you, Mr. Noah?
at Kernel Linux, just like it says right
Oh,
there.
That's very convenient, except for the audio audience, Noah. What about the company? Can I follow the Altispeed on the Twitter?
Kernel Linux. Yeah, we're at Altispeed, and as I had a blunder last week, I don't personally tweet there, but I try to stay tangentially aware, and I am in contact with the social media team, and so a lot of the pictures and stuff that come is stuff that I took personally out. But
I can't hear you through all that digging, Noah.
I know. It's getting worse. I should just stop while I'm ahead.
Yeah, man, totally. Find out when we're live at jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar because it's been a little funky recently. And follow me on my video adventures at youtube.com/Chris Fisher. That's my personal channel. See some behind the scenes shenanigans, all that kind of stuff there. And last but not least, submit your content to our subreddit, linuxactionshow.reddit.com, and get your email in here at jupiterbroadcasting.com/contact, or email us directly, linuxactionshow@jupiterbroadcasting.com. All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in this week's episode of the Linux Action Show, and we'll see you right back here next week. Okay, now they're all really starting to blur together. All right, now we set up for one more show. One more show. It's one more show. I'm going to have to do the YouTube reset thing again, which is just mess everybody
Oh, yeah?
up. It's going to mess everybody up. Or do you think I should just... No, we'll put these two together. That's right. You suggested that. We'll do that. We'll put these two together. That was Noah's idea. Everybody blame Noah.
So that's probably means it's a bad idea and you shouldn't do it, actually, is what that means. That's what that means. All right, closing out that show doc and going to the next show doc. So 50. No, wait. What's going on now? What's going on?
Yeah, 458 now. 458.
Oh, okay. Here we go. All right, I found it. That's okay. This is the one thing. If I'm going to start using Google Docs, I got to figure out. Here's what I want. I don't want them to resort by last used. I want them to sort by.
You gotta get on board with my system, dude.
I got a what?
You gotta get on board with my system. It's so much simpler. It's so much simpler.
What's your system?
System. I create the doc, or the first time I open the doc, the first time I bookmark it for the week. I got a current bookmarks folder for the week shows.
That's not going to work. What if I do? Which machine do I bookmark it on?
Oh, you don't sync your bookmarks? I thought you had Firefox Sync.
I did that, and then I got to like 17,000 bookmarks, and it literally started to take I had to it got to a point where I would hit the down arrow so that it would start scrolling, and I would walk away and go do things and come back till I get to the bottom.
Chrome Sync has been pretty solid for me, but this is how I do it. And so I bookmark it on one machine, and then here, look at my screen. Here. Okay, you looking, honey? Look. See this? This is all my current week's docs right here, so I can just jump between any of them. I never have to go to Google Docs interface. It's so much faster.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, I'm gonna book every document I work on. That's gonna be ridiculous.
It takes 2 seconds. Watch. Here's how you do it. You grab this little thing right here, and you drag it to this little thing right here, and it's bookmarked. Done.
Yeah, but you know how many documents I edit in a given week? So there's got to be 50 of them, 70 of them. I'm gonna
You don't gotta
bookmark
do-
70 documents. I mean,
Just do it for the show docs. So throughout the week, you can pull it up really easier. You don't lose it. Like, so I have all 3 docs booked for today. I bookmarked all 3 docs today, and that's not that much.
feel like Simple Note's way easier. I gotta say.
Can't even with you right now. You know what happened with Simple Note? We lost content.
You're right. We lost content. I should stop using Simple Note. We should go back to Telegram. I have a Telegram broadcast notes. My group. It works great. Just me and BoobieBots in there, and it is amazing.
Okay, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. What was that?
Chris, that's the input thingy. That's where your voice comes out. This is where the thing comes in. Got him backwards.
Hey, it's Ting.
I gotta shorten this email. Or I guess you don't have to do it.
You don't have to
now.
do it right now because we're about to start all over again.
Well, here's the other problem too. You gotta give me like just a minute. I gotta read over.
Fire torpedoes. Hulu has live TV streaming now?
Yeah, dude.
I didn't know that. Jeez, how am I the last person? Of course, I have Sling. I got and got in Sling. No, Typo, I haven't. Is that new?
I see what you did here.
What?
You got news articles. You got new stuff that will be relevant still.
I tried to, yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's really good. Oh my gosh, are you serious?
What?
This last article.
I don't even remember what it is anymore. We've done so many of these.
Don't worry. It's good. It's good. It's good. All right. Okay. All right. Now I'm good. At least I know what we're talking about. You gonna be okay?
No.
No.
Do we need to set up the recording thing at all?
The what?
Do we need to set up the recording setup at all? Oh, I need to start. Oh, we need to pick a title. Jesus, before we go. Dude, we're doing your recording setup now.
Oh, do we need to? Oh, yeah. Quiet. No, actually, I think everything. It is what you call a monolithic.
So Dell XPS 13 review. That's pretty good. Putin uses XPS 13 Sputnik review. Do you like that? What do you like?
Shoot, hold on. Had to go. JD title.
They're all some of them because I didn't restart JBot, so some of them are mixed in the last one too.
Whatever. The XPS 13.
Yeah, RMH,
review,
we're just gonna leave it. XPS 13 review, which is fine.
I like XPS 13 review. Sometimes it doesn't need to be that complicated.
No, the only thing I would like if it was clear which XPS 13 it is because there's several of them.
Well,
but
honestly, though, anyone that's smart enough to go on YouTube looking for a review, the XPS 13 is going to note the timestamp. Who would be reviewing fourth generation XPS in 2017? Yeah, no.
we just reviewed 10-year-old computers, so your face.
Yeah, no. No, we didn't. We did low budget Linux. My computer's brand new. It came out.
Oh
this
yeah,
year.
that's right. That's right.
Talking about. But I tell you what, if you ever decided that you were okay with the show doing more vintage stuff, I would so be on board with that.
Sure, like what? Of course I am.
No, I don't care. I just do just about anything. If I could, I tell you what, I could make a whole episode out of all of the old hardware because I collect it, right? Like it's fun for me, and I keep it. I have a whole range. I have every ThinkPad that IBM ever made, from the 700 series all the way up until Lenovo bought them out when the X41 or whatever when they bought them, and I have all of them. And I have them lined up downstairs. I think they're really cool. And I have like the original 700 series. Now that was a freaking dock. It was a thing. It weighed about as much as a computer. And it looked like a big old thing, and you had all your ports at the back, and you slid the laptop in, and it had a little stand for the monitor to go, above, because at that time they weren't flat screens, a big old CRT. So you set the CRT down, you had your keyboard and your mouse and everything, and then you take the laptop and go, and it it was very gratifying. I can't describe it. It was that amazing.
So is this giving away too much? Our take on Dell's latest Linux-powered Sputnik laptop. Find out why this laptop might be your future workhorse. It's not very catchy.
No. I don't think. No, I don't think it's giving anything away. It's not. It's not
giving
like
away. It's
it's
giving
not
away
clickbaity.
it's giving away that we like it.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, what do you? Here's the thing. I don't like it when I go to a video and they're like, is it a complete blunder or is it an amazing computer? Watch the video to find out. Like, I don't know. It just seems like I'm not your video already. You don't have to. If I'm reading the description, I already know what the video is.
Yeah, okay. Do you think it's
don't know.
catchy enough? It's not
Tomorrow.
very catchy. Plus, rumors it's just Valve is abandoning Steam machines. What else do we talk about?
Munich screws over the world.
Oh yeah,
Screwed the world.
Unix Linux blunder.
See, I'm striking a nerve. See, Likey in the chat room says, "Holy moly! I just found the IBM Palm Top PC, the 110, the other day from 1993, which apparently Alan Cox used to work on Linux. Do you have one?" Yes, I do. And in fact, not so when IBM first came out with the Palm Top PC, so there were a couple different iterations of it, the 110, but then later on they did what they called the next Palm Top or whatever. But basically what they did was they took a Palm 5 and just like rebranded it and put the IBM logo on it. But it was like $100 cheaper. And so I bought that. And then when the guys from Palm broke off and formed Handspring, then I brought the Handspring Visor. And that was actually my first smartphone because they had the Handspring Visor, they called it the Visor phone. And it was a springboard module that went inside the back of the Handspring Visor. And that was the first time I was able to make a call on my PDA. And it was really cool. And I really liked it. And then they had the Trio, which is amazing because it was a PDA and it just flipped open and it was actually a phone. Then they dropped the flip open thing. And because the flip open thing always broke on those, and they went to a color screen, things got better and better and better and better and better. And it was amazing. And then Palm died, and then we went to the idiotic choices that we have now.
And now we have smartphones, which are a million times better than the Palm Tops.
They're really not. They were so. Listen, I'll tell you what. If I could get a modern web browser, I'd go back to using my Palm OS device. You know how many? Let me tell you. Security vectors. You know how many there are to get into the device? None, because it didn't have any wireless capabilities. It was great if you wanted to get data on or off the device.
Until you put a web browser in it and you're connected to the internet, and then it's yikes. Jeez, you crazy. You know that?
I used to, and the thing was too is I could write emails on the thing, and I'd plug it in, I'd set it in my cradle at night, and I'd push the button, and HotSync would pop up, and everything would back up to the computer. I could browse it, and it was all local, and they didn't have any services, and it was just. Those were good times, man.
People that were good at hardware made hardware. The people that are good at software made software. The people that are good at selling stuff sold stuff.
I love WebOS. WebOS was amazing. It was one of the best the best touchscreen interface I've ever used in my life. And then they killed it.
So how should I tease this? Noah's got the ultimate NSA box that he built for himself to monitor radio broadcasts, record them, and slice them up.
Noah drags the old radio industry kicking and screaming into 2017 to downloadable media when they're too pig-headed to provide it. I swear to God, this is where SiriusXM screwed themselves. If they would have called me and said, "Sir, for $85 a month, we'll let you download all the content off of SiriusXM. You can download it as a little MP3."
I know.
I'd freaking pay it. I'd pay $800 a year to do that.
I know you would.
And because they won't do that, because they're insistent on having their crappy little box that has crappy little reception and makes music sound like it's coming through a tin can, because that's the way they choose to distribute their media. I have to go build a box and do God knows what to get everything to work right. I went through like 9 different SiriusXM receivers before I found one that like imitates the bandwidth, doesn't do the bandwidth crackly BS that like 90% of them do.
I swear Rikai sent me the commands to start the JBot for this bonus episode, and now I'm looking at both our threads and I can't see it. It's so weird. Rikai, if you're listening, can you start the... What the hell? Maybe it's this computer? Yeah, I guess, because I don't see it here. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. That's weird. I swear to God he sent it to me earlier. I swear to God. Last BB. All right, so now the title suggestions are open. We are ready to go, Noah. Are you ready to go, Noah?
I'm ready to go, Chris.
3rd episode right here, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you do it. This is how you do 3 shows.
This is how we do it.
This is a marathon. Oh, good. There's a plane going over right now.
This actually is. It was funny. Like there was some point in that last episode where like you paused for a second, and right when you paused to like look down or do whatever it was you were doing, all of a sudden,
yeah.
Great
That's
timing.
awesome. That's
This is the longest we've ever done last.
Is it?
We've never done 3 episodes. No, we've never done 3 episodes.
No?
We barely have done 2. We've done 2 like a couple of times, not very often.
Yeah? All right.
Never done 3.
Hold on. Let me grab a little water. I should do that before we go.
Okay. Yeah, that way we'll need to pee during the episode. That's excellent. It's a different kind of stream we got going. Do. Very quiet, very quiet, very quiet.
You know what else is impressive?
Hard to say with you.
Bella's been up. Bella had me up since 4 a.m.
Oh, really, dude? I hate it when that happens. What did you need? Snack? Food?
I got one.
Somebody kick her?
You know, I'm thinking about doing a 48-hour fast.
Oh, yeah? My dad highly recommends that kind of stuff.
Oh, really?
I was big into that and the juice like cleansing thing.
Oh, really?
Juice diet for 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever is supposed to clean
I
out
did
a lot of toxins and stuff.
I did like a 24-hour one Friday.
Oh, yeah? How'd that go?
Amazingly easy. I don't think I could always get that lucky because I've done intermittent fasting a lot, and I know that sometimes it's way harder than other times. And I think things just line.
I feel like once you get past, you you have that like that building hunger, and then once that initial one passes, once you get past that hump, then there's
a couple other little ones. But for me, sometimes when that initial hunger comes, I get like really sick. I get like I'm throwing up, my eyes start watering. I get the cold sweats. Like I get really sick sometimes in that first one. So it's much harder to fast when that happens.
Yeah.
Which feels like I'm having like a diabetic crash, really. But on Friday I did it, and it was really easy. In fact, only reason I broke the fast is because I wanted to, not because I was hungry. I was like, I think I would just really enjoy eating right now. And so I just went to one of my favorite restaurants and just like got like I just got a great meal, and it was great. But after that I was like, shit, I think I could do this for 2 days. And noticeable energy improvements and stuff. What? The planes? Yeah, I know. I'm trying to do a show here.
He waits until you stop talking for a second and then vroom.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was working. Yeah. I did those two interviews with the KDE people and with Elementary OS. I hadn't eaten that day. It actually worked really well because I didn't have time. I was too busy, so I didn't have time to eat. So it was perfect. And I've been doing fasting in the morning. I've been doing from 7 p.m. to about 11 a.m. just about every day. So I think maybe that was probably also why it was a little bit easier to go for 24 hours after that. But yeah. All right. Are you ready?
After I'm done scolding somebody in the chat room.
48 hour. No, not a 48-hour last, a 48-hour fast.
Do you want to do that? Dude, I'd be up for that.
48 hours? I couldn't do that.
That'd be terrible. I could totally do that. That would be fun.
Really, Coyote? That seems... How could it be due to ketones? That's like you're telling me I'm going overnight. I've gone into ketosis. That doesn't seem possible. I could do probably 12 hours, realistically, but I think I would crash after that. My only problem is it's just too dramatically unproductive. Like I go stir crazy if I'm like that half hour that we played the interview. I'm like, I'm gonna go make that motion graphic because like I can't even I can't sit here for a half hour and not do anything. Like I have to work. If I don't work, I go stir crazy. I really do.
That's why, see, here's the problem. That's why you and we always talk about how great it'll be to retire inside of, tiny house in the middle of nowhere. But the reality is, we're always going to have to do something.
We'd have to have something we just that's why I'm hoping when I get to my 50s, I'm hoping I pick up like woodworking or something. Like, I hope I get like crafty like that, or I get into ham radio, something that can really sync my, that's what I got to do.
Yeah, maybe that's what we'll do. We'll get into ham radio. But I've always got to be like, I'm a very project oriented person. I've got to be doing projects.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I've actually, last time I was before the Meet BSD trip, I was doing intermittent fasting, and after my fast, I would do Soylent. And I talked about it on User Error. All right. Oh, that would be so awesome, Strengths. I might be up for that, actually. If there was a way to make it financially doable or even financially successful, Strengths idea might be pretty good. 25-hour New Year's Eve live stream, so we can celebrate every...
Dude, I would totally do that.
Yeah, we just got to make a way to make it like a fundraiser or something. I don't know. All right.
Okay. All right.
It is episode 458, and it begins in a 3, in a 2, Welcome to the Linux Action Show, episode 458. My name is Chris.
My name is Noah.
Hello there, Noah. We have quite the show coming up, as you already know. Coming up this week, have you ever wanted to take the old terrestrial radio system, or maybe something like XM, and bring it into the modern era and make a podcast out of it? Noah has built a recording Octobox 2000 that's sort of like an NSA box in his house that monitors all of the streams and then records it, chops it up into little bite-sized MP3 files, and delivers it to Noah just like a podcast. I know, it sounds crazy, but it's one of the craziest Frankenstein hack builds ever, and we'll tell you about it today on the show. Plus, we've got the regular old news. We'll dig into some topics that I think are really sort of discussion pieces that Noah and I have been waiting to discuss, and I think hopefully you guys will like that particular aspect. And then in the feedback segment, we got your questions. We got some interesting things to talk about. We're going to follow up on our new Flomojo for the show and do kind of a, I guess, a 3-episode review, you could call it, and then picks and, other kinds of shenanigans. But first, Noah, we're going to jump right into this recording Octobox thing that you've created. We're going to just go right for it. And before I play the video, I have one question. How many iterations of this rig over the years have you had? Like, how many times have you tried this particular build? I'm curious, just like how many attempts it's been.
There were four different ones. The very first one I tried was with the piece of software that supposedly was able to use my XM account, log into a website, and pull a stream off of the website, and then it would record it. And that worked for a little bit, but then SiriusXM put this restriction where you could only pull that stream for an hour at a time, and then it would cut you off. Well, that wasn't going to work. So then I tried it using the SiriusXM app, and so that worked on an Android device. And what I had was, to get past the little "Are you still there?" thing, you could just have it. You could have a little thing that would just touch the screen, just simulate screen touching or whatever, which made the app think it was staying alive. But the problem is, after just a couple of days, it's just not designed to run 24 hours a day.
That sounds frustrating.
Yeah, it would just lock up and that would crash. So that led me to this big elaborate setup, which you're about to see, where I actually take the actual radio stream from the actual receiver and then bring it in and do a bunch of stuff to it. And that's how we arrived at the current day solution.
Okay, here we go.
The Democrats, prior to January 20th, 2017, were in full belief that the President of the United States had powers over immigration. Barack Obama said he possessed prosecutorial discretion. Now, Article 2 of the Constitution that sets up the executive branch makes no mention that the President personally retains prosecutorial discretion. If his argument was that through the Department of Justice and his appointee, either Eric Holder or Loretta Lynch, that he could set priorities for the Department of Justice, that's a different story. But what he could not argue, and yet the Democrats did anything.
I really love this guy. I think he makes phenomenal points, and I really enjoy listening to him. In fact, second to Unfiltered is probably my favorite political show out there. But there's one problem. This show isn't available for download in any way I can find. It's only offered, in fact, by SiriusXM Satellite Radio. Now, SiriusXM Satellite Radio does offer a SiriusXM Satellite app that you can download on your phone and listen to on-demand content, as well as go back and listen to previous shows that have played. The problem with that is, one, I like local media. I don't want to be streaming anything, and if I cancel my XM Sirius subscription, I'd like to be able to go back sometimes and find some of the material that I've listened to previously. Additionally, there have been times where I hear him say something, and I like to take a little clip of that and save it in case I'm making a point somewhere else, and I say, well, this guy can explain it much better than I could. So I've devised a system so that I can get all of this content right here on my smartphone. Basically what I'm doing is I have a machine that I've set up that is connected to a SiriusXM satellite receiver, and it records this show on schedule, completely automated, using Linux. Now we take all those recordings and we store them on the hard drive of the machine, and I use a client on my phone called AndFTP, which also supports SFTP, and I create an SSH tunnel into that particular box, and I pull all of those files down and import them directly into Pocket Casts. Now, if you don't know what Pocket Casts is, it's hands down the best Pocket Cast player. It's available on Android and iOS. and it's absolutely phenomenal. Works perfectly. I hear a lot of people complaining about their podcast players that when they get a text message it interrupts them, or when they get a phone call it interrupts them, or the audio doesn't come back quick enough, or the audio comes back too quick. With Pocket Casts, I can control all of that and set it up exactly how I want inside of the settings. So I'm a huge Pocket Casts fan. It was an Android pick on the Linux Action Show way back in the day. So we're on my way over to my office right now, and I'm going to take you back into a secret room that's in the back of Altispeed that nobody, well, not nobody, but not many people have the opportunity to go into. And it's kind of our, you know, Batman Labs kind of thing, where we try out new things that may eventually make it into actual series production. And I'll show you exactly how this box is set up, how I'm accomplishing what I'm accomplishing, and kind of how all the hardware ties in together and how it works. So let's go take a look. So we're in the back room of Altispeed. This is where, like, all of the things that we don't really want anyone to see or know about. We have, you know, computers that are hanging apart and network cables and random USB stuff. Yeah, all sorts of weird things that are happening around here. And this is where this computer lives. And what this computer does is actually something quite incredible. This is an old HP tower. That's an old Core 2 Duo. It has maybe 4 gigs of RAM. We have a total of 4 gigs of RAM on this machine. It is not a powerful machine. It's not a great machine. And yet it's a machine that I use all the time. This machine is what is doing all of the recording. So basically I have a fairly simple setup. Over here, I've got just a standard XM receiver, and I have that going into a just a small RCA camera audio capture device, and then that goes USB into this computer. And I'm going to show you exactly what these scripts look like on the computer. So the first thing that we have is the cron tab, and I'll just show you this. And basically what I have is it's a 3-hour show. It starts at 11 a.m. my time, and it plays weekdays, so 1 through 5. And so I have the exact same, it's basically the same script, hour 1, hour 2, and hour 3. And then it will automatically record, each one of those will kick off and record that particular hour of the show. And I'll show you why I have 3 separate scripts. I'm sure there's a way that I could consolidate this and make it a little bit more efficient, but I'm not a programmer. So, and then I test if I'm doing new stuff here. I'll try it in this part of the cron. So I'll go back out. Let's go into my scripts directory, and let's take a look at what one of these looks like. So basically, the program that's doing all of the magic is a program called Arcord, and Arcord basically records audio from a given audio device. So you can see here we're Arcord, and we've given it the TAC-D duration, and so I'm recording for 3598, and that gives me a 2-second buffer at the end of the file for just one script to completely stop, and then the next script to take over. Obviously that's the bit rate. There's 2 channels, and I'm recording this to raw hour1.wave. After we've recorded that, we want to convert it into an MP3, so we're using AVCOM for basically FFmpeg with a bit rate of 320, and we're taking that WAV file and turning it into MP3. Then we use a program called ID3V2, and basically that is adding the ID3 tags to this file. So basically we're adding the artist, Andrew Wilkow, we're adding the title, the Wilkow Majority, hour 1, and this is why I broke it up into 3 separate scripts, because I can get my hour 1, hour 2, hour 3. So hour 1, and then we append the month, the day, and the year. And obviously the album is Wilkow Majority, and the type is Talk Radio, and we're appending that ID3 tag to this MP3 for hour 1. And then we remove our original capture file, which is the raw hour1.wave. And finally, we move the recording from this working directory of recordings into show/TWM for Wilkow Majority, and rename it to we rename the actual file from, you know, raw hour1.mp3 to, you know, the name of the show, and then obviously the month, the day, and the year. And I can pull all of these files then from SCP onto my phone and play them wherever I am.
Oh man, no. I got actually a couple of questions for you after watching that, and I think an idea that maybe we could capitalize on. Big bucks, Noah, big bucks. So before we do that, let's save money by switching to Ting. It's mobile that makes sense. Go to last.ting.com. You only pay for what you use, frickin' wireless, guys. It's $6 for the line, and then just your usage on top of that. Last.ting.com is where you got to go to support the show and get the $25 credit if you bring a device, or $25 off a device. They got super great customer service and the best control panel in the biz. On top of that, they're geeks. They're geeks. The people that support the phone, they're Android geeks and they're iPhone geeks. They're like nerds. And to that end, they also have a really great blog where apparently, I just found out, Hulu launched a new live TV streaming service. There are a bunch of cord cutters over there, and they're always talking about this. Noah even knew about this because he's a big online services guy. But I had to read about it here on the Ting blog. So you go to last.ting.com. What's the matter? No, what? You go to last.
You're right. I love those cloud services.
Yeah,
I totally have a Hulu subscription.
Yeah, sure. And also, something I should mention, once you sign up, when you're going to love it too. They have CDMA and GSM networks to choose from. But once you sign up, they got a really good referral program. I'm just lucky Noah doesn't do this, and he sends people to last.ting.com. Because you can get service credits up the wazoo when you refer friends. You get a personal link once you've signed up. You give that out to your friends and family. And why not? Once you become a Ting customer, you generally become a Ting advocate too. So that's a really cool way to get a little money back on your account. Maybe pay for your wireless, because a $25 service credit gets you a long way on Ting. So go to last.ting.com, and a big thank you to Ting for sponsoring the Linux Action Show. So I guess I'll start with my big idea first. My big idea is this is two shakes of a lamb's tail away from being a totally automated podcast generating machine. Because instead of pointing a record at the line in, if you could somehow get, say, like a IceCast stream.
Oh, I could.
Then you could take a live IceCast stream and automatically make an MP3 file with all of the ID3 tags for a podcast and completely automate podcast publishing. And if you had audio set up like we have, where you could actually have real-time compression and limiters and gates, you could go from beginning to end in that span and have a completely ready-to-go episode if you're only publishing MP3 using that system, just changing what it records and making sure you start and stop your podcast at the right time. Since it's based on Croc.
To be clear, I couldn't point our cord at it, but I could do it with FFmpeg. I could pull
just replace that part. Yeah.
Record FFmpeg. Yeah.
No, that might be something people could do. That's a neat idea. So I guess my question is the part I don't follow is how are you then listening to these MP3 files once you've cut them up from the radio? So you get these things in hourly chunks. Then what? You got like a 25 megabyte MP3 file or something like that. You got to
they're closer to 80, but so there are all these files that are just sitting on the hard drive, and then that client and FTP for Android has two directories mapped. The first directory is the SFTP directory that is on that local hard drive that has a list of all that week's shows, and then the other directory is the custom directory for Pocket Casts that you can for creating shows manually inside a Pocket Cast. So just once a week, I just open up that end FTP and I hit transfer, and that week's shows gets moved over to my Pocket Cast folder, and then Pocket Cast scans them. And then, and here's the thing, I actually looked at putting them up on like putting them through like PodTrack or something like that, so that it would just Pocket Cast would just find them. But apparently other people have tried that, and SiriusXM has pulled those down and said you can't publish them. So I this way I don't violate any of my agreements with my.
You know what I have done in the past is I have created a folder in my Dropbox that is a public folder that's publicly accessible, and then I put my MP3 file in there. Dropbox will then generate, when you tell it to, a public URL for that file. You put that into Pinboard, and you tag it with you come up with the tags for like radio. And then Pinboard will generate an RSS feed for every tag, and then you put that RSS feed in Pocket Casts. Now, I know that sounds complicated.
No, it's not complicated. I just want to make sure I'm following what you're telling me. You're taking your cloud-connected storage to your cloud-connected whatever it is.
Bookmarking service.
And then adding that to your cloud-connected feed thing so that you can then read it on your local device. That's not really what I was aiming for with this whole
In
thing.
fact, I took
really
it a step
wanted-
further, and I actually ran the Pinboard feed through FeedBurner. So here's the just
more
if you
cloud.
this is, by the way, this is anybody can make their own private podcast feed for your podcast player with this system. You need to get a public URL and public storage. In this case, I was using Dropbox. Then you need to put that file, you need to register that somewhere that generates an RSS feed. In this case, I was using Pinboard. And then you take that RSS feed and you put it into FeedBurner, and you burn the feed in FeedBurner, and you tell FeedBurner to make it an audio-only podcast feed. And you put all the information in there, and then it'll generate you a nice, easy RSS feed that you can type into Pocket Casts. And then anytime you tag something in Pinboard with that tag that's tied to that RSS feed, it will automatically show up in Pocket Casts. It's really slick. Or any podcast
We
player.
heard that you liked cloud on your cloud, so we gave you some cloud with your cloud, so you could use the cloud to do more cloud on your cloud.
You know what? You're recording serious radio shows. You got no room. You got no room here.
None of that is cloud.
You
None
are
of that is cloud.
you are in a glass house casting.
Literally in the cloud and bringing them
I can't
out of
even
the
with you.
cloud down to the
I
earth.
can't even with you. Here's what you got to do. You got to stop listening to these old traditional dinosaur radio guys, and you got to go double it on podcasts. You go with the media that delivers the content in the way you want it. Problem solved. One more bell. Last bell of the show.
True.
That's all
true.
I'm saying. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
true. You're right.
That's all I'm saying. But it really works. I know it blowing your mind right now, and you're like you're shrugging it off. But I spent some time because here's what I did: is I created a family podcast feed, and so I can tag it with family, and everybody that's subscribed gets a new file that shows up, and it's our own private little podcast thing. And so one of the things I do is I take like audiobooks that I really like that I want to share with the family, and I tag it in this feed, and then they all get it, and they're just pulling it off my Dropbox folder.
Sure.
Easy.
That's
peasy.
a great way to do it. I just, me and the cloud, we just don't see eye to eye sometimes.
Do you have a Dropbox account?
That you set up, yes.
Do you? So the answer is yes. You have a Dropbox account. Okay. And do you use Pocket Casts?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you have pretty much all the stuff except for Pinboard, which is super simple. Takes 2 seconds. And Pinboard is ran by a really great dude that is just he's an independent dude. This is all he does. That's how he makes his money. It's a cool service. So
I might even have Pinboard. I think you recommended I get that.
yeah, I use
for
it
the
for show
start
prep
of the
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good bookmarking service, especially for people that are bookmark challenged like yourself. It's a really nice just check this out. Any page I'm on, Control B, I create a bookmark. Boom, boom, create a bookmark on the Pinboard. Control B, boom, I set it up. All right, that's the Linux Action Show's look at Noah's crazy Octobox recording monster 2000.
It's good. I like that name. I like it.
Yeah. So here we go. Now we are doing the picks, right?
Yes. No, now we're doing the news.
Oh yeah, the news, right. It's funny, the more shows we do, the more it all just runs together for me.
I don't know. There's just something Linux coming out next. So if we're going to talk about Linux,
What?
Linux are we talking about? I know
Are we
there's
talking about Linux again?
Linux? Something Linux. Solaris?
God.
What? Solaris? Yeah, Solaris. Let's talk about Solaris.
God. How did you mess up that link? That is so messed up. That is so messed. Your other markdown has been so good for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, you know why?
And then boom.
You know why? You're going to hate why, but I'm going to tell you why anyway.
Why?
You know why?
Why?
Simple note.
Why? Whatever works for you, man.
I copy and it works particularly well. Like where this week where I had like some docs that like I knew I wasn't taking them away from you because you were done with whatever you're gonna. So I was just like, I'll just move them all into simple note and then I can work away at them.
So we've done Ting. Let's do Linux Academy next. Linux Academy.
Oh, you're right. Oh, and you know what? You know what else is worse about the message that you sent me? You know what's worse about that was I was trying to find what app name it was too, and I looked that up. Oh, I don't think about that.
Wait, you talking about the S you're gonna get?
Yep. And here's the thing: it did dawn on me, and that's why instead of what I usually do, that would be a thing. So instead of driving around just holding selfie I did it with Sarah so that she could record while we, but like, and then like an idiot. Yeah, but you're right. Now I think about it. Oops. Oh well.
You know what? It's interesting to look at. At the end of the day, I drive while recording too because it's interesting to look at. It's visually interesting.
And here's the other thing too. I got to be honest with you. Anyone that uses their mobile device, I know this isn't popular to say, and I know that whatever.
Oh God, Noah.
Blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. Here's the truth. Okay, anyone that does this for like routinely, we know how to do it safely. It's 2 letters, eyes on the road. 2 letters,
Jesus.
eyes on the road. 2
All
letters,
right.
eyes
Okay.
on the road.
That's where we're going with this.
Okay, no, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, like, there's everyone's like, they make it sound like people like kick their feet up on the dash and just.
It doesn't matter. I've literally been commuting, and several times I've either seen somebody reading a book or reading the newspaper, and I've seen women doing their makeup, and I've seen guys shaving, and I'm seeing
shaving while driving.
Oh yeah, and makeup, of course, in the mirror.
Why would you want to?
And the newspaper, man. They're sitting there with the newspaper, and it's one of these. It's one of these. In rush hour, because there's a lot of rush hour around here, so people just got nothing to do for like an hour and 45 minutes. And now, of course, most people are on their phone. But I was commuting since before smartphones were big, and definitely before smartphones, that was the big thing. But I still have seen it from time to time.
I don't know.
I know. Are you ready for the news? Hey, it's the news, and this episode is brought to you by... Hey, Noah!
Hey, my thing stays the same. It's you that has to change. I'm using the words. Circular
You just
words.
do the LTS intro. Noah's sticking to his LTS intro.
I have the words. I just cyclically use your words, though.
My
Your
updates
words.
are rolling. My part of the segment's rolling.
That's right.
Here comes the
And I'm
train.
the LTS. It's a good way to look at it. I'm stable.
Noah, quit screwing around.
Hey, it's the news, and this episode is brought to you by
Linux Academy. Go to linuxacademy.com/unplugged and sign up for a free 7-day trial. It is a platform built by Linux enthusiasts, Linux lovers, and educators that came together and created the Linux Academy platform.
Whether you're an experienced sysadmin or new to the world of Linux, Azure, and AWS, OpenStack, and DevOps, a sharp skill set is an absolute necessity to succeed. Meet Linux Academy, an online Linux and cloud training platform that uses self-paced video courses and hands-on labs to give you real-world experience for a wide range of skills. Train for your certification, learn the latest DevOps tools, and grow your skill set to do better work. Linux Academy is not just a video library. Our scenario-based server labs and quiz system allow you to learn hands-on. We also have full-time human instructors who answer questions and help you earn that certification or promotion at work. We add new training every week so you'll always be up to date on the latest tech. Sysadmins of every experience level use Linux Academy to stay on the bleeding edge of the Linux ecosystem. You should too.
linuxacademy.com/unplugged, and they just announced a partnership with Chef to provide super high quality chef training, as well as everything else they do. linuxacademy.com/unplugged. Thanks, Linux Academy, for sponsoring the Linux Action Show. So let's talk about Scale. It's coming up very soon, March 2nd through the 5th at the Pasadena Convention Center. And we got a couple of interesting things to talk about. So not only is this just a huge event that's fun to go to, but we have like a great deal for people that might be interested in attending too.
We do. So Ian was kind enough to reach out to us and give us a deal. Anyone who listens to the Linux Action Show is going to get 50% off their admission price, baby. 50%. You can use the discount code LAS50, LAS50, and save 50% off the purchase price of admission. Now, let me tell you why Scale in particular is so cool. I run into people all the time, and I talk to people in the chat room and over email and contact forums. They say, how do I get started with a Linux career? How do I get started? Well, certainly,
yeah, we do get that a lot.
Academy are going to get you started, building the skills, but the networking opportunities that come from these conferences are unbelievable. And I actually watched the gentleman that helped me with this kernel problem that you're going to hear about probably in a couple of weeks. I watched him get hired at one of these conferences.
Yeah, I would say that too. It's not only is it good for networking, but you get a sense of what the industry is working towards and excited about, where the momentum is going, which helps you plan for your career a little bit better. You get an idea of the jargon people are using, just some really good basics and essentials. Plus, then they have sessions you can attend where you can actually learn about stuff. So yeah.
Scale is interesting in that a lot of times we have seen the split between the fests and the cons cons, and the fests are the very community-oriented things, and the cons are the very, corporate kind of things. The interesting thing about Scale is they attract a lot of the same vendors that the cons do, but they have it structured in a way like a fest. So it's absolutely one of my favorite ones to go to, and JB will be well represented there. We'd love to catch up with you guys. So come out and say 50% off. I think that's a great deal. And a huge thank you to Ian and the entire team at Scale for offering that code to us.
Yeah, and if you're going, be sure to say hi to Noah and use our promo code LAST50 to get 50% off, which is awesome. That's a great deal. And we got, just a little bit ago, we got the press invite. So you can go in as press too, which would be great. Gives you access to interviews and whatnot. That's really cool. It's nice to have Scale. You can tell they've really got their S together. It's a great conference. I don't think I'm making it, and I am so bummed about that. I'm super, super bummed about that. But we have a lot of stuff coming up, so it's not for a lack of content. It's just we've got so much content coming up with a lot of planning to go. We just have to budget ourselves and pace ourselves. But I have some good stuff in the works. But I will not be at Scale this year, which makes me the sad. So represent us down there. We'll get a live show from down there. We'll still get some interviews from down there. And you can still have a good time. Noah knows how to party up at an event.
I do.
Your buddies over at Mozilla had a crazy week. They've landed Servo, which I'm very excited about, WebRender, and others into the Firefox main codebase repos, the nightly Mozilla Central Repository, which the Servo project we've talked about, WebRender we've talked about, and the various Rust dependencies. So this is all stuff that we've sort of been looking at moving closer and closer to production in Firefox. This doesn't mean everyone's getting this stuff very soon, but it does mean that it's getting into the main repositories, and it's going to work its way through the system. And these could be major improvements for Firefox. And as I've been sort of moving around desktop environments, one thing I definitely have to say about Firefox is I can much more easily feel at home on the Linux desktop. It feels like it's actually a native application where, especially under the Plasma desktop, Chrome sticks out as its own unique, non-native thing. Mm-hmm. And I can tell I'm using a cross-platform application on the Plasma desktop, where when I fired up Firefox under KDE Neon, it felt like Firefox was meant for the Plasma desktop. So there's been times I've kept wanting to go back to Firefox.
The thing is, I've been a Firefox user since before it was Firefox, back when it was just the Mozilla browser. Basically, when it was Netscape Navigator.
I've been using it literally since it was Netscape, if you can call it that. I mean, the lineage at least, yeah.
So, and the thing is, I've always had a great experience, and that's why I continue to use it. But really, what sealed the deal for me was a couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to meet with the Mozilla folks and interview some of the gals that were there. And the way that they approach the community and the way that they structure their company, focused on community and open to input from the community. Anyone can attend their meetings. They're completely open to the public. The way they structure that makes it a company and a foundation and an entity that I really want to support. And so I am 100% all Firefox all the time. And it's getting easier and easier to make the argument that it's a technically superior browser as well.
Yeah. In the meantime, you can't sync your bookmarks today. I mean, that's where we're at right now. It's not all.
We can. I just choose not to.
You choose not to because it doesn't work with the amount of bookmarks that you have. It doesn't work for you. I mean, I've had issues with the sync too. I mean, that's why it doesn't work for me.
The amount of bookmarks, but how do I search through find my bookmarks? That's what I don't. That's the part I can't solve. But that wouldn't be any different under Chrome.
Okay, good cop. All right, fine. You don't have to play bad cop on the radio if you don't want to. I understand.
Listen, off the air, have you ever heard me say anything bad about Firefox?
Yeah, I've heard you say that the sync doesn't work and you had to quit using it.
That's not what I said.
That is what you said, but it's all right. It's all right. I know, it's fine. This happens all the time. We get on the show, and I end up complaining about something. You're like, I think it's great. And then we get off the air, and you're like, this thing doesn't work, but it's fine. No, it's fine. Everything with Firefox is great. There's no technical limitations. There's no problem dragging in all of the Rust dependencies. It's fine that Servo isn't out there yet.
I agree with that. I agree dragging the entire Rust dependencies is a huge pain. It's a short-lived problem, and they should have tackled this problem a while ago.
I just tease because I am excited about it, but I feel like there is there is a group of people out there that a bit of an apologist, and it's not been competitive, and it's getting there. But the reason why this is a story. This is the reason why this is a story is because Firefox needs these things to be competitive. That's my point. The reason why we've been talking about Servo and WebRender and the fact that they're retooling stuff into Rust for going on now 2 years. We've been and electrolysis. The reason why we've been covering all of this stuff is because it's been lacking in this features now for years. I am very positive. I'm thinking probably by the end of 2017. This stuff's going to be looking going to be huge. It's going to be huge. It's going to be really great. It's going to be the best people. Firefox is going to be the best in 2017. They've got really good people working on it, the best people. So stay tuned. But in the meantime, folks like Noah and many others out there continue to love it. So don't listen to Crazy Chris. He just likes Chrome. Fedora 27 is scheduled. What? Yeah, Fedora 27 is scheduled to be released on Halloween, and we haven't even gotten Fedora 26 yet. The crazy folks over at Fedora Engineering and steering committees have approved an initial release date for Fedora 27. Now, bear in mind, all scheduled, likely to change. I say scheduled, likely to change because, come on, it's Fedora. These guys are going to change it. But that's cool. That's as long, whatever it takes. The approved schedule puts Fedora 27 branching from Rawhide on the 25th of July. I know Noah's a big Rawhide user, so that's probably when you need to plan, Noah. And then expect the final release on Halloween. I guess I'm looking for the release date of 26, though.
For all your for all your poking, I do actually have a box that I test the latest version of Fedora when it comes out, as well as other distros when they come out too. But I try to keep particularly close tabs on Fedora because I'm hoping one of these days that they come out with like a workstation thing that is an LTS version, and then I'm going to switch over, and then there's going to be no getting me back. But
there's a couple of things they're changing in 26 that I like. So before we start getting all excited about Fedora 27, we're going to be getting 26, and it looks like they're separating sub packages and source debug info. Very good move. They're enabling trim to be passed down to SSDs that are not encrypted.
Good.
Yep. They're also going to produce a minimal container image to be a base for Docker images. They're making sudo pip safer. What's wrong? I need to look into that. And of course, you're going to get GNOME 3.24 up in this business. That's interesting. And they're also going to enable SSSD fast cache for local users. SSD. Try to say that 10 times fast. And for you, you're going to like this, a Python Classroom lab spin.
Excellent. So I can practice my dev skills.
Yes, because you're a developer. You're a developer.
I am a developer.
Yeah.
I write code.
Now, we recently covered the release of LibreOffice 5.3, and one of the features that Noah said would be the end of LibreOffice and destroy the project was the new...
Yes, that's exactly what I said. That's basically a direct quote.
This is what happens. They have the new ribbon toolbar. They have the new ribbon toolbar that you were actually pretty worked up about. It was kind of funny. Like, you got all worked up.
I think it's a dumb idea. I really don't think anyone wants
all worked up about it.
After having it for 10 years, I still haven't met anyone that works in the Microsoft Office world that's like, oh yeah, I love that ribbon. That's a really more efficient way to work. Like, that just doesn't happen.
Yeah,
That's
but if
not
they
a
had
thing
done the
people say.
LibreOffice version, I think they might have had a winning recipe.
Amazing.
So,
Yeah,
and apparently the rest of the world agrees. LibreOffice 5.3 has gotten a record level of donations. It's triggered a record level of donations. 3,937 donations in February 2016, 1,800 more than in March, and 2,000, sometimes 3,000 more than any other month. They say the donations are the key to the life of the project, so thank you. People are very... Now, I'm not... Is it really new to their... Is it because of their new UI? I don't think so. I think what people probably were responding to, if it was me and I had a big deployment of LibreOffice, the cross operating system rendering engine and the improvements to the underlying infrastructure, to the code base to make it more maintainable and more efficient and less buggy are huge benefits to the corporation. And so if I was a corporation on LibreOffice, I'd be donating for those features alone. I don't know if it's really this new toolbar. It might have driven some more downloads and more donations, though. You never know. I mean, it's good to see them doing well. And I thought it was a good chance to tease you a little bit.
Especially if you have the millennials that grew up on the toolbar that nobody wants, then perhaps they might.
Did you just blame the toolbar on the millennials? Does that just happen? Aren't you technically in the millennial age category?
No, I think I'm a little bit before.
No, I think you are. You're younger than me, so you are in there. Because I depending on whose chart you look at, am in there by 1 year or just miss it. So
okay.
Yeah, I think you are technically a millennial, which is hilarious. All right. This is a train wreck. It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. It's going to take over the world. It's going to disappear. Android x86 future is in question. It's been around for 7+ years. I've run it many times, but it looks like the founder is moving on. In February of last year, they teamed up with Remix OS. There hasn't been a lot of development, and it looks like the main developer left maybe even at the end of 2016. He wrote today on the Android x86 list that I've quit at the end of 2016, and I'm looking for a new job. I'm not sure if I still have time or energy to work on this project in the future. I'm even not sure if it's worth it.
Yeah. That's, no, it's not. Here's the thing. I really struggle to understand most technologies. I can understand, even though I don't personally agree with it. I understand the people who buy iPhones. Even though I don't personally do it, I understand the people that buy MacBooks and so on and so forth. For the life of me, I do not understand this obsession with trying to get Android to run on desktop devices. Why? Why? For what possible reason?
Well, take out desktop when you say x86, because there's like the Asus Zen phone that's x86 based, and it's a really cool phone. I mean,
okay, there are a couple of them, but
I would actually like to see more x86 based Android, because then I could use because then I could use those devices for other things too. Like I could use it to run real Linux. If you had more, imagine if all of these frickin' devices out there, if Intel had gotten their power profile down to ARM and they were competitive, imagine if all of these devices were x86 based, we'd probably have Linux running all over the place.
But I feel like the ARM devices are specifically designed for that lower power, smaller form factor use case. And the x86 is just, I mean, everything, it just seems like we're working too, here's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of when we tried to conflate these paradigms of taking a desktop operating system and shrinking it down to a tiny little screen and making it a touchscreen operating system. And now this seems like the opposite. We're trying to take a tiny little touchscreen operating system and bring it up to desktop form. Like,
I guess I'm surprised because to me it seems strategically important to Google. It seems like it would be something that, I mean, they must have a branch inside. The site's still up. AndroidX86.org is still up. It's based on, I think right now, like Marshmallow. I don't know what to say. I feel like if you're gonna be stuck with Android, having it run on x86 processors is a good thing. Not necessarily to take over the world, but it seems like it's a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess I don't have any reason why we shouldn't do it, but do I think it's important? No. Do I think anyone will notice or care that it's gone?
I guess.
No.
Oh, look at this. Okay, so Intel has a horse in this race. Intel has their own version of Android for Intel platforms. So they,
like what?
Yeah,
Like
so
a compute stick or something?
for they call it Android-IA, and it's the IA implementation of Android for Intel NUX, they say, and other things.
Yeah, see right there. Why is that? Why is that a good idea? What are these people thinking? Who puts Android on a NUC? For what possible reason would you want to do that?
The kids know. I mean, I know you were joking about the millennials, but in a way,
Yes, I
imagine a world where you get into you know, you've been talking about this actually. You've been talking about how some of your clients. Go ahead, tell the story on the show.
I'm working with this office, and we are installing a VoIP phone system. And one of the big things for them was there's a number of the executives and people that work there that they're being forced to use this VoIP system because they have to be able to transfer calls back and forth, but they don't know anything other than their touchscreen iPhone or Android. And so we had to deploy these phones by Ubiquiti that run Android. They're desktop executive phones that can interface into the VoIP professional call system, but they function like you dial the number and you have a little green button to send it because that's the way they know how to use these things. And it perplexes me. And a couple weeks before that, we installed one of those huge Samsung, like the 22-inch idiotic thing tablet for this guy at his desk because he wanted to use it as his replacement for his computer because he thinks tablets are more efficient.
Wow.
Like, this is a thing that is happening, and it's quite frankly, it's idiotic and scary to me, but it's a thing.
You know, it's kind of related. I had so that shocks me when you say like they wanted the phones with Android on them so they could use them to do conference calls, because for me, I want manual buttons on my phone. I want like the conference button to be a manual button. I don't want to go through a touch screen. I don't want to have to fiddle with it. When Hadia and I were out car shopping for her, one of the things we noticed immediately is the cars where the climate control and the radio were all touchscreen. It was way clunkier than the cars where you just got in and turned a knob for the air and turned a knob for the.
Kidding.
Yeah, it's
kidding.
And that's me. I want a physical button and switch when possible, so that way I can do it without looking. See, when I'm operating the phone, I want to get to a muscle memory state with the phone where I reach over, and I just operate it without ever having to go.
Exactly. And you know what, Chris? If you look at industries where they've done detailed research, airline, for example, right? NASA does thousands of hours of research on human behavior and behavior sciences, right? And what they find is not only you don't find touch screens inside of most, inside of a lot of aircraft, at least not on the important things, but the way those buttons are laid out are even in a particular thing, and the size of the button, the shape of the button. Like they study all of that. So to get rid of all of that stuff and just go to a touch screen, so I'm driving down the road, it's just idiotic.
But you see it happening. I see it even like with my own kids and family members. And I'll tell you, the reason why it doesn't surprise me is humans, there's only a certain level of efficiency we have to achieve before it's good enough, and we all just kind of accept it. And if you want an example of that, you could imagine, I wonder if there was a conversation similar to this when they were trying to debate on the keyboard standard to go with Dvorak or QWERTY. We have the QWERTY keyboard layout. It's the worst, most inefficient keyboard layout. And then
Specifically designed to slow your typing down.
And we all use it. We don't think about it. We don't think about how inefficient it is. And then when we go to replicate these on touchscreens, what do? We re-implement QWERTY layout on touchscreens. It's unbelievable. And none of us think about it. And so I think it could be similar. I know it's not an exact analogy, but just because
it's pretty darn close.
Those interfaces are less efficient, that's what people learn to use. And people learn, I noticed this when I was reviewing the XPS 13 with my family members, they just expect to reach out and touch it. Like we were looking at a Craigslist ad, they're like, oh yeah, let's look at that one. I didn't tell them it was a touchscreen. I hadn't touched it, but they just expect it. And it's especially true with my kids. And so that's why I just kind of thought this was not that I have any use for it, but it kind of just seemed like a no-brainer project. And especially when you see it on something like the NUC. Because, in fact, Intel has it's gone. Intel had a product image up here for a second of somebody with a NUC and full-screen Android up with a touchscreen. Giant, like 21-inch, 22-inch touchscreen that they were manipulating an Android app running off a NUC. So there must be some, and they make it look like it's an industry. I'm trying to find the image again, but they make it look like it's a professional office setting too. And you got to figure, as people that grow up on these types of interfaces get more and more into business, this culture is going to change.
Unfortunately, I think you're right.
In the meantime, they'll have to pry away on my command line, and that's, to me, having now watched it honestly, and I feel like for a long time I was on the wrong side of history, because when I got started in the industry, I was migrating a company from DOS to a GUI. And I was the GUI evangelist. I was the keyboard and mouse evangelist, because that's what I came up on essentially towards towards my core computer usage. It was when the GUIs were blossoming, and I was playing with all the different operating systems GUIs. And so for me, I came in as a GUI advocate. This is what you got to change everything over to GUI, and that was the way the industry was going. So I moved a company from a DOS-based.
For you users, that is the way we should approach things.
Yeah, I suppose so. But now looking back at it, everybody that knew the old key system was way faster just keying in. So it was a teller, right? The person comes up, they want to look up the account information. The teller was literally twice as fast with the text system than let me click on the tab. And I didn't really understand that at the time, because I just saw things from the GUI perspective. And now over the years, after all the desktop environments I've used, all the different operating systems I've tried, from the Mac, from Windows, from Linux, when I really need to check something really quick, like what's going on with my network, on all of them, I drop to the command line and get it done immediately. And to me, it's still one of the most efficient user interfaces. So what do I know? You were looking at this, now we're going to touch and voice. So it's I feel like we're getting left behind to some degree, but it's not going away. It is interesting to watch these trends, and it's interesting to see not a lot of interest in Android x86. I do know, I agree with you that it kind of pleases me a little bit, because I feel like that makes desktop Linux a little safer.
Right.
But then we have the Chromebooks waiting in the wings, coming in waiting to crush us all. All right, that's the Linux Action Show's look at the news.
Okay, Chris. All right. So I had bookmark syncing was working fine. Everything was syncing across all the computers. Okay. But here's the thing. Eventually, I got so many bookmarks inside of my bookmark system that it was taking forever to scroll. Like I put my mouse on the thing, and it would just. This is what I was telling you before. It sound like deja vu because I'm saying it the second time. Scrolling. I had to walk away. Then I had to come back after I walked
too
away.
slow. Yeah, it got too
slow.
Then
it took forever to get.
But you see what you forget is, listen, son. The last time,
same thing would happen.
The last time we had this conversation, you and I compared dick sizes, and I had as many bookmarks as you did, and I don't have sync issues.
No, you didn't.
We did.
No. Here's what happened. So we're standing there, and you're like, "I have more bookmarks than you," and I'm like, "No, I have bookmarks than you." And so we back and forth, and we looked, and I had more. And then your answer was, "Oh, well, you bookmark all of your stuff in Firefox, and I have a bookmarking service, and if I included but still, there would be more bookmarks."
Now, here's the only difference: is I just recently moved all those over to Pinboard. I used to have it all in the browser.
But at the time, you didn't have them in the browser.
Well, and it's been like a year.
Yeah, well, actually, almost exactly a year.
But anyway, still, though, but like, it did.
But here's my point. How are your bookmarks organized? Are they all in one big menu, or are they in like folders and stuff?
It depends. I've got different vendors that I visit a lot. I've got all of my social links in one. I've got all my news in another. media info, like live streams and stuff in another. And then I have this current folder for the week's current work that I...
But Carl, that kills people. Here's the problem. The thing is, like, if I organized all my stuff into folders, that would be fine. If I tagged all of my stuff, that would be fine. But I didn't do either. I just hit Control-D, Enter. Every time I see something I like,
see,
Control-D,
you can start at any point. You can start any day. And then every day is a new day.
All like the 15,000 that are in there.
Every day is a new day. You start new. You start new. You start new. And you know what you need to do is you just need to set aside an afternoon and just say, I'm going to look at these bookmarks and I'm going to honestly ask myself how much I need any of these. That's what you got to do.
Well, I ultimately decided I didn't, so I signed out of Firefox Sync. Now I don't have any of them.
Oh, this is.
You didn't get my car reference.
I didn't. You're right. So, okay, which one do you want to read?
Llamas with hats. I don't care. Oh, you know what?
Is that a siren coming from you? I don't hear that very often. What's going on over there?
Yeah.
Geez, that. Oh, you got to read the. You got to summarize the really huge one. That's what's got to happen.
I know. That's what I'm doing right now. That's what I'm doing right now, boss. That's what I'm doing right now. Forgot about this. See, didn't I tell you this is like a novel?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. All right, so I think system. So we did the sponsors in a different order this week. Would you have it? I don't really think we're ready to do follow up. I know I teased it, but I don't think we're ready to do follow up on the format.
Well, of course not, because it hasn't actually aired. I kind of thought about that when you were saying it. I thought you meant by follow up. I thought you would say that we were going to do a follow up.
Carol, I do get it. That's good. Carol made an impression. Gosh, it's 50 degrees outside. Wow, that's wonderful. That is nice. What happened, Noah? Noah, what happened?
I'm fixing the email. Hold on a second.
Google accidentally pushed out Google Assistant to the wrong devices.
I don't know what that means.
Google Assistant's their new voice-controlled assistant. They pushed out an alpha version to wrong devices and enabled people to sideload it on Nexus Ps, 6P, Samsung Galaxy Note 5, and the Ansitel Idol 4, among others. Otherwise, it's only available on the Pixel right now.
Sounds very cloudy. I don't care.
It's kind of interesting that they made that mistake. The people are able to load it on machines that aren't approved. It also shows you there's probably not a lot of reason to.
That's what I was thinking when you said that. I don't understand. You know, nothing is more frustrating than when I go to install an app, Google Duo, right?
Yeah.
I have these tablets for my kids. And I thought I want to do video conferencing with them. I'll install Duo. Turns out there are certain tablets or whatever that you can't install Duo. Now, why?
Really?
They all have cameras, okay? And they're all running Android 6 or something. So it's not like this insanely outdated version of Android. Here's the bottom line. Why not just give me a little message that says, hey, this is probably not going to work with your device. Do you want to install it anyway? And then get out of my way, because the chances are, I guarantee you, now that I have to take it and root the stupid thing and load an APK and all this other nonsense that I shouldn't have to do, once I get to that point, we all know it's going to work anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So why not just give me a nastygram and say, probably not going to work, not really compatible, not approved for your device. Do you want to do it anyway? Yes. Okay. Get on my way. Why can't we do that?
You might refresh on your end because you're losing sync over there. You're syncing out. Oh, yeah. Syncing out. No, you're syncing out. I'll hit refresh on this end too. So let's see. I'm recording, huh? Why am I recording? Did I not stop recording? Uh-oh. Jeez. We got ourselves an extra file here. Hopefully I recorded all of that. Otherwise, I would be very sad.
Doop-a-doop-doop.
Okay, good.
Doopy-doop-doop.
Just an extra file.
Doopy-doopy-doopy-doop.
Dib-a-dip-dib-a-dip-dib-a-dip-dip. Ah!
Ah.
All right, so are you back?
I am. And Rakai gets my reference, so that's exciting.
All right, here we go. It is time for the feedback, and I will read the first one. You ready?
Raj.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. And that brings us to the end of this week's broadcast. But we got your emails to get to before we get out of here and a few other things. I'd like to thank System 76 for making this segment possible. They make powerful computers to help you do more with Linux out of the box. With great support, a great company, good community behind them, and super powerful rigs from desktops to laptops, they got them all, from the Kaby Lakes up to the Oryx Pros with the GTXs, the servo workstations, and the Bonobos. They got Kaby Lake in the Lemur. You hear that, Noah? Kaby Lake. Yeah.
I hear you mispronouncing Kaby Lake, yes.
I'm sorry, what?
I heard you mispronouncing Kaby Lake.
Well, okay, but we do agree on how you pronounce Lemur, right? We do. Yeah. Okay. They've got great desktops and servers, too. Check them out at system76.com and just tell them Noah switched to Linux. I don't care if you already run Linux. Damn it. Just tell them that. Jeez, gosh. It's just for, it's for fun. Huh?
Give you cool things if you do.
Yeah, all right. Well, that makes it worth it right there. All right, Jonathan writes in with XFS versus ZFS. He says, hello, Chris and Noah. I remember seeing you guys discuss both ZFS and XFS on previous episodes of Last. At the moment, I'm thinking about changing the file system in my computer, which is currently extended 4, and I'm still undecided whether to go ZFS or XFS. Do you guys have any suggestions on recommendations on what I should go for? Or should I just stay with Extended 4 for now? I'd like to know your thoughts. Thanks. And cheers. Jonathan, all XFS all the time. All XFS all the time, unless you got a whole bunch of disks, you got a lot of RAM, and maybe you do ZFS. XFS is so...
You better have a lot of experience with ZFS on BSD, so you know when you're dealing with the ZFS problem and when it's something that's because ZFS is new on Linux.
So I think the Echo thinks I'm talking to it. She likes you, dude. She likes you. Yeah, I mean, ZFS is great, but XFS is like... When you find something that's just really well built, really refined, and it's been around for a really long time, I'm not usually the first person that says, go with the really tried and true stable thing. It's so amazing. I love that stuff. But when it comes to file systems, man, nothing better than tried and true reliable. And XFS is great. They got new sense of development and momentum behind it. I love it. Now, the one thing that people write in when I talk about XFS that I probably should mention more often is I don't believe there's a way to shrink the XFS volume. So if you ever are in the position where you might need to shrink it down, which I don't know why you would, but if you are, maybe you're moving it to a smaller partition or drive or something, bear in mind that XFS is not awesome for that. However, you could also just format the partition XFS, the new one, and just move the data over and be fine. XFS has online defragmentation. It has a great set of tools. It has extended attribute support. It's really solid. So if you don't need the real-time checksumming that ZFS has, and I don't think XFS has compression, I've never looked, it doesn't have those things. So if you need those things, ZFS. Otherwise, XFS all the way, all day. You want to take Andrew's, or maybe even summarize Andrew's?
Yeah, so Andrew writes in, I think I got it cut down a little bit here. Andrew writes in, and thank you, Andrew, for the kind words. I appreciate it. We had to condense your email down just a little bit so that it would fit for the show. So he writes in about IPsec and SimpleHelp. He says, "Hi there. I just wanted to say that I've been using SimpleHelp, my IT business, for about 3 years now, and I have to say it's more than paid for itself many times over.
Cool.
I watched your IPsec segment and wanted to highlight a new setup I've been migrating to using OpenVPN and a server called PrintUNL. The setup handles site to site very well as well as for a road warrior. I installed PrintURL on an Amazon server because I needed the lowest latency possible, and DigitalOcean has no Sydney data center. The beauty of the system is I can use a web interface, which I create an OpenVPN server to my client premise, and then I add each user. A router can also be a user that needs a contact. Define the subject of the local and PrintUNL takes care of the rest. This awesome thing gives you a profile URI link, so it's easy for pasting the link into their client, and it's ready to go. Keep up all the work on the shows. Thanks, Andrew."
Sounds like another happy endorsement for SimpleHelp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very nice.
They are releasing a new system, and I was looking to get some details on it, and I guess the rest of the details aren't public, but basically what they are announcing is what they're calling Simple Provider. And basically what they're going to do is they are going to, my understanding is they're going to start structuring to kind of target that managed service kind of environment and provide the tools necessary for the people in IT to offer those tools for their clients. So I think that's going to be kind of cool.
You're going to be watching that with probably interest.
I will. I'll be one of their first signups, I bet.
We got to come over here and get some Washington businesses on your client list.
Yeah.
If you're ever out here and for some reason like a flight gets delayed or something and we have an extra day, that's what we should spend some time doing, is just going around doing a little client
you
trolling.
know, I mean, I kind of talked to you about this a couple months ago. You know, like the pseudo groundwork for that has already been laid. It's just a matter of actually executing on it.
Yeah, yeah. So if you want to get your question to the show, jupiterbroadcasting.com/contact, choose Linux Action Show from the dropdown, or you can start a thread at linuxactionshow.reddit.com. You can also contact us on the Twitters. I am at ChrisLAS. Mr. Noah over there is at Kernel Linux. And the business?
At Altaspeed.
Very good. And you can follow both of those. And actually, both pretty good accounts to follow. I follow them both, and you're a better Twitter user than I am for the most part, really. I mostly just reply to people.
I don't know about that, but I like, it was kind of cool. So this week, sometimes you get insight into things I do outside the show. So for example, this weekend I was a guest speaker for 2 different presentations out at the Cabela's NRA weekend, and so I was out there giving some instruction.
I saw that. Yeah, that was cool. I didn't even know. I found out via Noah's Twitter feed.
Yeah.
You would be a good vlogger, dude. You really would. I know the only problem is you don't have enough time, but you could really show me how good Lightworks is with a daily vlog. In the meantime, you can follow mine at youtube.com/Chris Fisher. It's not daily. It's just when I can get one out. But I would be really, with that kind of stuff, I would be interested to see that, Noah. Think about that. Noah's World. Oh, man, I just gave you the name, too. Noah's World. Couldn't even come up with a name for my own. But
all right, this might be a thing. If only I wasn't really interested up until you put the Lightworks pitch in there. But Lightworks is an enterprise grade editor ready for
daily content, high quality daily content.
High quality daily content. I'm in.
Challenge it. All right, there you go. That's the show. If you'd like to submit a story, something you didn't see us talk about, a project you think we should know about, or a distro that should be featured, linuxactionshow.reddit.com. We'll be back live next week. Go to jblive.tv to watch that at noon Pacific, or get it converted at your time at jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar. We would like to get your feedback on the new flow. This is the last planned episode that we'll do the new flow, but if we get some positive feedback and after Noah and I have time to sort of ruminate on it and discuss it further, we may keep this new flow. I think after doing 3 of them in a row, I think I like it.
I do too. I like it. And I think it's going to be really great for the audience, because I think that when they come to click on an episode, I think that they can get the main content out of the way. And then additionally, I think we can grab a lot of those fly-by-night people that, are just, they're not part of the community, and, then we can bring them into the community.
I have a sense that by putting the main content that the whole show is titled around, it puts the pressure, it takes the pressure off us after that. So we can take a little more time with stuff. We can experiment a little more after that's out, because we've gotten past that part. Whereas before, it felt like we were always rushing up. Like we knew that people were tuning in to watch that specific thing, so we wanted to hurry to get there. And now it feels like that's done, and now we can just kind of sit here and chat a little bit and kind of take advantage of what a long form podcast allows for. I don't know. Love to hear your guys' thought. Leave it in the feedback thread, or send us an email, or just give us a quick tweet with your opinion. What you think about it. You can also follow the whole network at Jupiter Signal. That's also a good spot to give your feedback. Okay, everybody. With all of that said, all those different channels and mentioned, and anything else I could possibly think of, that brings us to the end of this week's broadcast, and we will see you right back here next week. Okie dokie. JBTitles.com for one last time.
We got through those 3 episodes faster than I thought we would.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, we usually wrap up one episode in about 2-3 hours, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 p.m. here, so it's,
Yeah. So it's 5 hours.
Sometimes we're done by 2:45 here when we're,
Right. Usually if I'm making lunch plans, I aim for, so, but I mean, really, to get 2 additional episodes done in like 3 additional hours, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. Millennial Pimps his radio. Millennial struggles to bookmark. Pimp my radio. Personal radio broadcasting. I feel like that's too generic, though.
Not to mention the fact that the part, a lot of people are gonna see that in last, and they're gonna go, "Oh, it's a ham radio thing." Like,
oh, you might.
We gotta separate that out somehow.
So what about something like Noah Hacks the Radio, or something more generic, like
Noah Hacks XM, Noah Hacks Satellites? Ooh, that's good. No, that's good.
Noah drags XM into the 21st century.
There you go, something like that.
Sorry, WW. Sorry about the stream challenges. I know some of you were having stream challenges today. Go figure, on a big batch, right? I mean, Noah even had his internet go out. Everything's been thrown at us this episode.
I tell you what, here's the thing. Just for the most part, chat room is like they're the most amazing people ever. Chat room is in a bad mood today.
Yeah, a little grumpy today. But all in all, I mean, I would be too if my stream was being shit. So
Yeah, but half of them aren't like only the YouTube one, to my knowledge, is the problem. Like the one
well,
on
I think
JB
I think so. I think it's a little bit of that. I think some people are having some JB Live issues. Because the thing with all of this stuff is they all have even the JBLive.tv page is on CDNs, right? And so
Yeah.
it depends on where you're at, the experience you get. Noah's Radio World. Noah's Radio World still is kind of hammy though.
Yeah. Hacking XM or turning traditional radio into podcasts.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to think of something like that that's short. Like, yeah, exactly. I actually,
Podcast
my
radio?
energy level is good enough right now that if we had the time, the inclination, and the content, I could do a fourth. I'm just starting.
could.
I'm
I
starting.
think I
Like,
could.
starting to get a little blurry on where we're at in the segments. But if I wrote it down,
Here's the only thing I need. I need about 10 or 15 minutes, and I need something to eat, I think.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
maybe not. I gotta go a little bit longer, but
I-
then I need
yeah,
something to eat,
yeah,
and
I
I'd be
could.
ready for another one. Yeah.
I could go. Yeah, it's crazy.
God, that would be, that's something we could talk about, right? Like if
Like doing
we
Wheel
were-
of Fortune style and come in and just bang out a whole month of shows in one Sunday.
Well, but then we got to use that time efficiently. Like, what if we
Yes, yeah.
did, like, if there was a way we could, like, if
Create crazy great content in the meantime.
yeah.
I know.
In the space that we create for not
Yeah.
having.
That would be great. Like really big shows.
Yeah. Maybe that'd be something to talk about for like the 11th. I don't know. With
Build ourselves up a buffer, and because this could be a strategy to build up a buffer.
Right,
Although
right.
we kind of got lucky in the staggering of content too, because we kind of had the interviews line up, the review line up, and we've been talking about the recording box for like a while now.
Yeah.
So it all kind of we'd have to kind of get that kind of thing queued up again too.
Yeah, but that's not the thing. Is like I'm realizing the more it's kind of funny. The more things I have to do for JB in a given week, the more opportunities I realize I'm passing up. Right, because I've been thinking about it all week because I knew we were doing this, and then like when that kernel thing came up, I was like, "There's an episode right there."
Yeah.
And then it makes me mad, and I was like, "Why didn't I film this? Why wasn't
yeah.
this a thing?"
Yeah. That's what we got to do is just film it. So personal radio broadcasting still topped. Noah pimps out radio. Android perplexes Noah. Millennials struggle to bookmark Noah's radio.
As long as the word broadcast is in there, that's not so bad. At least it gives you an idea that it's not. No, I kind of agree, actually.
This is kind of a rough list.
Let's do this. Let's just do the whole episode over, and maybe they can bang new ones.
Yeah,
and
okay.
then-
That's good. I mean, we got the energy and we got the content, so.
Yeah.
Chemtrail Linux is funny. I don't remember that's a reference to, but it's kind of funny. Satellite radio made local is good. It's right on the nose. It's just not wide enough to appeal to very many people.
Yeah.
Noah's radio hack. Noah's radio hack might be the closest. It does kind of sound hammy, but at the same time, not. I kind of think Noah's radio hack is.
Yeah, and here's the other thing too. The reality is that I'm not a big believer in the people tune out after they hear the one thing that they don't like. Anyway, so.
Says you. So do you like Noah's radio hack or?
Yeah, I do. Here's my concern with Noah's radio. hack
Hey.
is- Hey.
Did we do the picks?
Oh, no.
So
No.
So which sponsor did we not do?
Ting?
No, I think we did Ting. See, this is the only thing. This is the part that where I should have been writing it down because they all blur together. This is the. It doesn't matter if I'm tied or not. This happens. So we must not have done DigitalOcean.
Must be. Well, oh, that was in the. Oh, yeah, maybe that's feedback. Yeah, I guess so.
So let's do it real quick.
Hold on, because I don't know. I don't have the thing. I don't even remember what it was. What were our picks? Oh, yeah.
Because it was, I thought we talked about NixOS, but we didn't. Yeah. So we got to do picks.
Yeah. This payroll. Oh, yeah. Oh, how do we forget about this?
I know.
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, I'm ready.
So, does anybody remember? Because just it all blurs together for me. I could double check. I don't think we've done DO yet, though. But I can't remember.
It was a deal because I remember having an internal debate with myself if I should bring the phone up again, and I was like, nah, that'd be dumb 2 weeks in a row.
So we have Seaman, we have Tails, and then the Runs Linux. Here it is.
What? SMEM, dude. SMEM, not
Huh?
CMEM.
Seaman?
Oh my god.
They don't know. They don't know. They are no help, dude. They are no freaking help.
How mad would you be if we'd have forgotten the picks like after I left?
Well, I mean, it would have been the conversation would have gone like this.
When can you be back to go do the picks?
It would have gone something like this. Well, Chris, we got a problem. What is it, Rikai? You guys forgot to record the picks.
Totally nailed it, dude. That's not only is that how he talks though, but he's got like this like body sway to it.
Yeah,
as he says,
yeah.
Well,
yeah. That's how you
the
do
thing
it.
about Rikai, like, and you don't know because you guys don't see him, but like, there is a part of his body that is always moving. As a fellow,
Usually
ADD
it's his legs.
Yeah. And like as an ADD person, I understand that because I have to be very active or whatever. But it's kind of funny because he's a month. We'll let you download. He's a very majestic creature, and so like when he sits down to work, like his leg will start going, and it goes, and it's great.
Yeah. So we did Ting after your radio segment,
They make it sound like people like kick their right. Okay, this is making more sense.
and then we
I
did
remember
Linux
now.
Academy before the news,
My stuff.
and we did System 76 before the feedback. So yeah, it is Dio. All right.
Okay.
So,
All right.
So Beard, stick this in before the feedback. This is the pick segment. Do 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 do. All right, are you ready for the picks? This is. Are you sure we haven't done that distro? Oh, I guess we haven't been doing distros for a while, so I guess that's
Done it for
possible.
4 weeks. Yes, I'm sure we haven't done that distro.
Really?
We've done it for 4 weeks.
But we've done distro picks in the past.
Oh, I didn't compare against that.
Jesus,
Hold on,
dude, it's like I'm talking to my kids sometimes.
Hold on. Hold on.
I just feel like that's one. If that isn't one, we have to.
Can I just point out that the same could be said about Thunderbird? You didn't want to do Thunderbird as a real pick, so I mean. Yeah.
I like that. I like that now. Thunderbirding is a is a thing. Yeah, I did see that.
In the show notes, I tagged something and I was like, "Here's a backup, whatever, in case you Thunderbird my pick."
All right. So yes, Tails was done on actually in February. Interestingly enough, holy shit! On February 8th, 2015, we did Tails. So we need another quick distro. Chat room, what's a distro we've never covered before that's totally badass? Give it real quick because we thought we were done, and it turns out we're not done. Real quick here, Crux, Ghost BSD, eLive, Univention, what? Nitex is a Linux distribution built from Linux from scratch.
Hey, did you ever do Rebecca Black Linux?
I don't know, man.
We need to cover Rebecca Black.
No, dude, no. Come on, dude, come on. What do you think about Nutix? Nutix.
I never heard of it. So let's do it.
Nutix and Nutix.
What do you have against Rebecca Black?
It's just too obvious.
It's not Friday too. That's the other problem.
All right, I think we'll do this.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
All right, so we are recording the picks. Here we go. I'm gonna kill out. I'll just switch it out. Don't let me forget to put that in the show notes. Okay.
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah.
Don't
What's up?
forget to put that in the show notes.
Oh, should I just do that right now then? Okay. All right, I'll just do that right now. It's based on Linux from scratch, dude.
Remind me in an hour to put this in the show notes. Okay. Hey, Chris, in an hour, put that in the show notes.
I don't know about that app pick though, dude.
What? Are you serious?
Seaman, dude, it's a little grotesque. All right, here we go. In 3, in 2. You should do something like it's the picks or something.
Wait. Oh, to start?
Yeah, dude.
Well, listen. Here's the thing.
Go ahead and start the segment. Hey, it's the picks, or whatever you want to say, or now it's time for the picks, or whatever.
Okay. All right. All right.
And it's brought to you by.
Oh, really? Should I do that so that we can actually do the ad read? Okay. All right. Great. Hey guys, you know what time it is? It's time for the picks, and this segment is brought to you by
DigitalOcean. Go over to DigitalOcean.com. It's the world's easiest, simple cloud hosting provider. Create an account and use our promo code. Here's the thing. You'll get a $10 credit. You can spin up their $5 rig 2 months for free. DigitalOcean.com. They've got a really nice interface, data centers all over the world, and an API to back it all up in a way that is smooth, simple, and very straightforward. And then, like a warm blanket, they wrap you with fantastic community documentation, solid performance, great team support, lightning fast networking, and highly available block storage, which you can add up in little increments or up to 16 terabytes to your droplet. They have monthly pricing and they have hourly pricing, which is maniac level pricing. This is such a great way to experiment with an open source project. Put up a little back-end infrastructure for yourself, your family, or your company, from small needs like, a personal IRC or a Mumble server, all the way up to adding capacity to Scale Engine. There's all kinds of things you can do with DigitalOcean. Go over to DigitalOcean.com and try it out. I think they probably finally nailed the whole package. A great infrastructure built on Linux, using KVM, SSDs, super nice UI, great community, excellent documentation, fantastic pricing, and you can support the show when you use our promo code. Here's the thing. All one word at DigitalOcean.com, and a big thank you to DigitalOcean for sponsoring the Linux Action Show. So we have app picks, we have the Runs Linux, we've got the distros. Let's start with our Runs Linux, the UK payroll Runs Linux. Tell me about this one here, Noah.
So this was sent in by Richard N., one of our viewers, and basically he was able to capture a picture of some software that the let's see if I can get this open. Well, I guess I don't have to open it. You can open it for them. But basically, the UK government has created an application for their employers to do payroll, and it's a desktop tool that makes their submissions online through the tool. And he was able to get a picture of that
on Linux too. Yeah.
Right. And the thing that is the reason that these always jump to the front of the list for me is anytime somebody can find something that is not the go-to standard for Linux. Every robot runs Linux. I don't care anymore. Every major server runs Linux. I don't care anymore. But when you have like a government which is using a desktop application to do payroll, now that's cool. And that we have to talk about.
I do like seeing that kind of stuff. I agree with you there. All right, so check it out. We have a link to the picture in the show notes if you'd like to see a screenshot and be so thankful you don't work with that application. Now, this is something that's interesting for those of us that want to have a little more insight into what the heck the RAM's doing on our system. SMEM, which is a memory reporting tool. What do we got here, Mr. Noah?
So what this does is, I'm sure most of us, we use, FreeTAC-M, all day long, right? Like the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning, and my wife's like, "Hey, don't forget to." The first thing I do is like inside of my head, I'm like, FreeTAC-M, and I have enough memory to remember. Yeah, we just know that.
Yeah, I've got GNOME System Monitor up every day. I've got KSysGuard constantly. Yeah,
have to have those. So SMEM is a more robust tool for monitoring and managing, or not managing per se, but getting an eye of your memory on your system. And so, haven't played with this more than just a couple of days. But from what I've seen, it's a far more enhanced version of FreeTAC-M, so you can get a lot more information, and definitely something that I have running on a couple of my servers as well as on my on that new HP I have. I'm kind of checking it out, and so
this is way better than free. So this breaks it down by process, and there's all kinds of sorting commands you can do, and you can do it in reverse order based on memory usage. This is really cool.
I haven't played with any of the reverse ordering and stuff like that, but I definitely found it to be give me a lot more information.
So here I got it running. I just installed it on my machine because it's just in the package repository. I always love those app picks. They're just in the pocket. So if I pop it off here on my desktop, my GNOME 3 desktop on this system, you can see all of the different processes, the PIDs, the user memory, all of the stuff that they're taking. It's nice, Noah. I like that. Good pick. SMEM. And you probably just find it in your local distro repository. And it also looks like it can generate some cool graphs and output things, too, if you throw the right flags at it. That's pretty cool.
I have not played with it.
There's a lot more to do. There's a lot more than just looking at the memory usage of PIDs. It does a lot of stuff. So let's pick a distro that I'm willing to bet a lot of you have never heard of. And if you're like me, you've always fantasized about finally getting around to building a Linux from scratch machine just to see what it would really be like. Well, maybe you can do something in between with Nutyx, N-Y-U-T-Y-X. It's a complete Linux distribution based on Linux from scratch, and they have a whole, I guess I would call it distinct package manager called Cards, which is for them. It's up to you to decide whether you want to use their port system or you can use their packages, their binary cards packages. Here they got top 10 benefits. You can install it from almost any other distribution using a bash script. It has a hierarchical ports collection. A very simple method called porting allows you to download a recipe from the repositories. It takes care of dependencies. It has the ability, once installed to a folder, to produce a personalized installable ISO of the distro. It allows complete base binary package selection of individual packages, for example, just development or man pages documentation. It has no need for separate hard drives or partition. It creates virtual environments. You're able to reinstall without formatting the target disk or partition. Its unique installation prevents NewTux installer from formatting the different partitions. I guess I don't understand about how this particular aspect of it works. It's powerful yet simple, they say. It has a totally unique package manager with expandable modules with no dependencies except for glibc, and has the ability to compile all packages properly per level in a dedicated chroot environment. Well, I think that's supposed to stop with the vowel. So that's NewTix, NYUTX. You can find it at nutyx.org. That's a unique one, huh?
It is. That's pretty cool. I've not heard of it until we chose it for this episode.
They just had a release. I want to say 2 weeks ago or something, kind of soon, recent. They just had a new release. So check it out. That's kind of a fun one. And you can find they have a. Ooh, hold on, pulling up a screenshot here. Brace yourself, Noah. Boom, Plasma desktop screenshot. It boots. There it is on NewTix. And you can find our past distro picks at jupiterbroadcasting.com/last picks. And I would love to get some great distro suggestions. Like, I would like to have a list that's so long we don't know what to do with that we just start to say, well, we're going to review this one, we'll feature this one. It gets crazy. Submit them at linuxactionshow.reddit.com, tweet them to us, or even better, just email them in at the contact page, and we'll consider them for future inclusion in the show. All right, Noah, that's all the picks. There we go.
You almost said, all right, that's all this week, didn't you?
No, I just don't know I didn't know what to translate. I just said that's all the picks.
I forgot what episode, what thing.
I just don't really, you know. All right, so we're gonna. I think we're good.
I think we're good.
We got a title. We got all our segments recorded. So the title was Noah Hacks Radio. Is that what it was? What was the title?
No, Noah Broadcast Hacks, I think, or something like that. I don't remember now. Did you put it in the doc? Why didn't you copy it?
Because I think, or was it Noah's Radio Hack? I think it was Noah's Radio Hack.
Noah's Radio Hack. That's right.
Yeah. And the reason why I don't know what it was because I just came up with it. That's why. Noah goes SETI. Noah goes NSA.
What does that do with the NSA?
I don't know. Just some sort of monitoring and recording box. I don't know. I don't know. What doesn't it have to do with the NSA? Think about it, dude.
Everything has to do with the NSA.
Exactly.
Did you see that that hack for the whatever theme language thing or whatever you can put on Facebook that changes your privacy settings? So it will change it to say like only me in the NSA, only the NSA, everyone in the NSA, only my close friends in the NSA.
That's great.
I thought so too. I was like,
that's good. That's sort of
just be aware. Just be aware when you post the stuff that the NSA can see all that.
Yes. All right, that was fun. That was good. All right, good job podcasting, dude. Good work. Yeah, so the last show is taken care of now for 3 weeks.
Amazing.
Really, 2 weeks. Really.
Now what I've got to do? 2 extra weeks. Yeah. But so now what we got to do is I've got to find a way to use this extra time to come up with something cool when I come back, so I make myself useful.
Amazingness. All right. Well, you get out of here. Go have some birthday dinner or something. Go do something fun.
Okay. Bye-bye. Live stream and
goodbye, chat room. We love your faces, guys. Thank you for hanging in. If you've been here the whole time, damn, right? Damn. All right.
Out of 10.
Yeah, out of 10. All right. Bye, Noah. Thank you, chat room. Join me tomorrow for Coda Radio. Mike, I think, is back from the Superfan contest. Get his take on that. Should be good broadcast this is. Hope you enjoyed the Megathon. See you tomorrow.